Happy Saturday morning, everybody. Good day. This is Frostbyte. Hope you're doing well. Thank you for coming in. Do the quick pleasantries real fast. I can't even speak. That's why I have coffee. Real fast to say howdy to everyone. Eric Byer is in the house. You'll see him up above. Good morning, Eric.
Good morning.
Hope you're doing well. Thank you for being here this morning.
Doing great. It's good to be back.
So let's do the how do you do's. So Siren, thank you for being here. My mod, I appreciate you so much for coming in. Steve looking for silver. What's up, brother? Hope you're doing well. Thank you for being here. Good to see you. We have Scotty Aquati's in the house. Mia's in the house. Thank you so much for being here, you guys. I do appreciate that. Good morning, Logic. Michael Wells is here. Good morning, Michael. Hope you are well. Thank you for coming in this morning on this fine Saturday morning. David Carlisle is here. What's up, David Carlisle? Rockzilla's in the house this morning. Lots of hearts and emojis being thrown up. That's always a good thing. So today we're going to, hey, Darren Ottman is here. What's going on, Darren? Good to see you. Again, just as a reminder, if you are in landscape mode and you want to be in portrait mode or vice versa, then you can just simply go to the top, click on that pinned comment, and then you can go to the other side. So if you want to be in landscape mode and you're in portrait, click on that little link and then go over. And then you can go back and forth if you want to, whichever one works best for you. It's totally up to you. I stream both ways to make it easy for you. Dan McCumber, what's up? Good morning. Hope you're doing well. Kevin Hawthorne is in from the great state of Florida. Hope you're staying dry, bud. I know you guys have got a ton of rain lately. Tons of storms, so hope you're doing well. Jackalope, what's up, brother? What's up, heavier 10 pounds of water or 10 pounds of butane? Water, because butane is lighter fluid.
Nice.
I like that. Way to slide in with an early morning dad joke. So, Eric, what you been up to, brother? How you been?
Just cleaning up the yard and had a little bit of a tropical storm here. Got to drive through the tropical storm, which was exciting. And then working on coins, trying to get everybody's coins ready to send out, taking photographs, trying to work my coins up that I bought at the show. Got a lot of neat stuff.
Yeah, I heard.
Yeah, got 30S RPM 1. This coin that's under my thing is a RPM number 2, 38D Buffalo nickel.
RPM 2, D over D. Yep. Is this D over D South?
D over D West.
West,
I believe.
Very
it's
cool.
A nice one.
Oh, anytime you get a Buffalo nickel in MS65, it's a good thing. It just makes it even nicer that it happens to be an error or variety.
Yeah.
Yeah. I said error. I had to correct myself very quickly.
That's okay. My nomenclature is not the best myself, so I'm not critical of it. There's some people that are critical of it. As long as I get it, I get it. It don't matter.
I just have to correct it before Paula comes in.
Right. Well, she understands how I operate.
I know, but it's still Paula. So, by the way, folks, if you see Paula come in, please tell her happy birthday. Yesterday was her birthday. So please make sure you say that. I haven't seen Paula yet. I didn't see Paula yesterday, but again, it was her birthday. She was doing stuff with family, I'm sure. So she'll probably be in a little bit later on. Scotty Aquati says, you're on my TV and my cell phone. He's streaming double duty. Appreciate you doing that. Thank you so much. So why don't you tell the great viewers of the channel this morning some of the things that you picked up from your coin show?
A bunch of RPMs. I did pick up 3 1931S Lincoln cents, MS65 Brown, a VF, and an AU like 50.
So for those of you who aren't tracking this, a 1931S is a key date. So we're all talking Lincoln cents. So
I mostly do Lincoln cents. I did pick up 3 Mercury dime, BU Mercury dimes that had RPMs on them. Haven't gotten to those yet. Picked up 2 war nickels with RPMs on them. It's 42D RPM number 2 and I want to say 45p RPM. It's 8 or something like that. I don't remember. Two Buffalo. I picked up a D over S OMM2 Buffalo nickel. This RPM number 2, a 1930S RPM number 1 Lincoln Cent, which is a FS 501, I believe. 39S RPM 1 and 2.
Nice. You picked up some goodies.
I picked up a lot of goodies.
That's awesome. I picked up a goodie too. It's this one. It's the, but mine is a collectible. It's a katana.
Yeah, here's something. Oh, I guess I don't have it.
That's my pickup.
Nice.
Have you seen the katanas?
I haven't.
Let me pull that up real quick and I'll show you because I know you, I don't know if you're looking at both sides, but let me pull it up and I'll show you what it looks like.
I did buy a couple of Libertads just because I wanted them.
Oh man, now you're singing my song.
And I bought a 1948 Gem Franklin. Bought a couple Indian head cents that were nice. XF or higher, all full Liberty and stuff like that, and clean. They were nice.
Cool. Here's that katana. Oh, hold on just a sec. I can't do it that way. I've got to share it this way. Just a second. I keep forgetting.
Oh, nice. All right. I know what you got.
There's that katana. So now you can see that. So this is what I picked up. It's a really cool design. It's from the Republic of Chad. It's a 2-ounce. It is a coin. But this is one of my pickups. This is one of the collector's pieces that I picked up. So
I did learn a lot about silver at this show because one of the people that was with us was a silver stacker.
Oh, nice.
And he knew his stuff.
Speaking of, I didn't mean to put him off, kind of put him on the spot, asking him if he'd like to be on the channel.
Robbie knows a lot about it too. I don't know. He didn't say a whole lot about it. But a nice guy. Really nice guy.
Yeah, I'd like to kind of just talk with him offline and see if they'd be interested in coming up because, again, a lot of the people who watch the stream are both collectors and stackers.
Right.
Got a lot of stacking members of the community that like to come in and watch the show and see, especially when you talk about counterfeits and things like that. So I'd love to have him on. So I'll have to reach out to them.
Collectors.
Say again?
I've got a lot of silver. And I don't try to get it. It just comes to me.
I'm partly to blame for that from what you told me.
No, I still have tons from when I was a dealer.
What's up, Eric Matthew?
But yeah, you made me buy stuff like space coins and which I almost bought an Apollo 11 5-ounce, but I didn't do it.
Oh yeah, I had my eye on one of those for a while, and I ended up going with something else.
And he wouldn't budge, and I'm like, but silver was really flaky the one day at the show. It popped over $30 an ounce, and gold went high. And it was funny. We walk into the show in the morning. All the good stuff was out of the cabinets. It was just Buffalo rounds and junk silver. And by 2:00 in the afternoon, all the good stuff was back in the cabinets because silver had come back down. So I'm not sure if they had it priced. And it was probably didn't have enough premium on it.
Yeah.
Actually do well on it. So they took it out instead of repricing it.
So here's the, you ready for the numismatic coin that I just bought?
Yeah.
This is the numismatic coin. I didn't buy the MS65, but I did buy the 1873 $2.50 gold.
Well, why wouldn't you buy the MS65? Because it adds doubles the price.
Yeah. So
and it's a bucket coin. It's not like I guess if you were buying it for an investment, it would be okay. But
so I bought it around 45, but let's get over here to 65. and we're getting there.
Right.
Yeah, there you go. That's why I didn't buy it. uh, yeah, that's why I didn't buy it in a 65. Okay, it's a
But
pricey
it's a
little
beaut.
devil, huh?
It's a beaut. It's beauty.
Yeah, it's a gorgeous coin. Um, Mine is about probably VF. It might be XF, but it's most likely VF. But
Yeah.
yeah, this is my birth year coin. So this is the coin that was 100 years old when I was born. One of the reasons that I collect was getting started on collecting, not only for me and Bifrost, but my wife at the time, who is now my ex, um, buying our coins and buying those. So looking at open three, closed three variety. But you guys know, if you know me, Christian Gobrecht is my favorite designer. And so I like Christian Gobrecht. I like this. This is the closed three. I still have to determine whether this is closed or open three. Haven't been able to look at that yet. But that is the latest pickup. I picked that up from Mad. Um, he had it, and I called him and I said, no, that's mine. I'm gonna just straight up buy that thing from you. And he's like, okay. So my wife and I talked about it, worked it out, and I picked up the deal on about a week or so ago. So,
Ooh, that's always good when the wife's on board.
well, she was like, we've been working really hard to pay off debts and stuff like that, and she's like, you've been really good with not doing a whole lot of stuff. You go ahead and do your big thing. Go ahead. And so we
That's
reached
nice.
we reached deep, and she allowed me to. I shouldn't say allowed me. It was a mutual agreement to do that.
Well, yeah, allowed isn't a bad term.
Well,
Um,
yeah, yeah. And again, I always joke because she allows me, and then when it comes time for her to do it, she just informs me. Um,
right. See, me and my wife, we communicate real well, and it's always go ahead and do it or not. She buys something, I'm always supportive of it.
yeah.
So
So this coin actually, it's going to lead me to my first discussion point for today, and that is the storage of coins. Now, Great Scott, he's not here this morning, but he'll be in, I'm sure, a little bit later. Was talking yesterday when we were in the morning stream. I was doing the Ida show, which, by the way, Ida's going to be returning here around September 2nd. So for
beautiful.
those of you who have been sending cards and sending emails and letting know that Ida, that you love her and you hope she's doing well, and kind of, taking care of things, just let her know that she's still there. Let her know that she appreciates you, and or you appreciate her, and because she misses seeing you guys. So please reach out to her, let her know that you're thinking of her, because she thinks of you guys all the time. Um, but yeah, she's planning on coming back September 2nd. They'll probably be truncated. She'll throw a little bit of a party. It'll probably be a little bit here or there. If you're not familiar with who Ida Herring is, if I can have one of my mods throw in Ida's link, go check out Ida. She is what I would consider one of the gatekeepers of our community. Absolute sweetheart of a lady. Really loves people, loves to do fun stuff. So go check her out. Mandy Candy, how are you doing, my friend? Good to see you. I hope you're doing well. Thanks for popping in. But anyway, so we were talking about this, and one of the things that Great Scott had mentioned was that there was this place that had gone out of business. They were actually a storehouse, and to the tune of, just millions and millions of dollars, basically robbed people blind. And so I wanted to talk really quickly about storing your stuff off site. Now, anybody who's followed me for any length of time knows that any of my precious metals are only at my house for a short amount of time. All that stuff gets stored off site. I don't ever tell people where I do it. But I do want people to understand that, if you have a safe, outstanding, store it in your safe, but safes can walk out, especially if we ever get into a situation where, we end up in what they call the SHTF. But there's a couple of things about storing coins that are really important. So one, storing it at a bank or a credit union. Now, Eric and I were talking about this. I'll get to that point here in just a second because we have a really big bank and a really well-known credit union that both have decided to stop doing safety deposit boxes. They've notified all their members and said, we're no longer doing this. You're not going to be able to store
Well,
stuff
they're
in our
doing
vault.
it, but they're like consolidating, like the one I was talking about. They keep moving it. You got to go move it to this branch. You got to move it to this branch. But ultimately, I think their end goal is not to have them anymore.
Yeah, and again, they're telling people that this is what's happening, right? This is their forewarning,
Yeah.
right? This is their gentle way of telling people that they're not going to be doing this anymore. Whereas the credit union that I used to have, and I'm not going to give details about it, simply because that'll tell you kind of where it's at and where things are located. But the credit union I'm at, point blank told me we're no longer storing stuff here. You have to come get your stuff or have an authorized member come pick it up. They don't want it. Now, Inkman, that's exactly why my credit union said no, and it's a liability issue. The other thing is we have places like Kitco, we have places like the money market, we have these different things. You guys know that Surfer and I did a stream. He's got a thing with a gold repository where they do selling, but you can actually store the stuff on site. So I want to talk a little bit about the pros and the cons of doing stuff like that. But if you're going to be storing coins at home, if you're going to be storing stuff in books and stuff like that, again, I'm always seeing people talk about, I'm going to step away for just a sec. Just grab one of these, doesn't matter which one. I happen to grab the early one. These books, right? It's good to have these books and to put them in, and it's fun to do this. But you're not going to want to store long-term coins in something like this. Okay. Paula Bloom has a really fun, oh, look at this. I said her name and damn if she didn't show up.
What'd you say?
I
There's
just said
trouble.
your name. We were talking about books and I was just about to talk about your grandmother's Mercury dime book.
Oh, yeah, that was bad.
Yeah, the very, very sad. Open it up and the backs are all basically rotted away because they got wet and the acid ate the coins apart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So if you're going to have these things, they're fun, they're cool to have. But again, make sure that you are, if you're going to be doing something like this and you're going to be storing them long term, you want archival safe books. The other thing is making sure you store them in a dry place. So have those little packs. We've talked about this a number of times. This is nothing new. But if you're going to store stuff off-site and you're going to store it at a bank or you're going to be storing it at a credit union or you're going to be storing it at a off-site storage facility, do your due diligence. Because of what happened in July of this year with this one entity, there were people that lost hundreds of thousands of dollars because they had set one up and then all the gold and silver was gone. They were selling it, buying against it, trading it, stocking, marketing it, and then they up and disappeared without a trace.
There is David Carlisle, the ANA. I can't remember. Sorry.
Yeah, so there are some. The ANA is one of them. Kitco is another one that I was going to be talking about.
The ANA has somebody that they.
Yeah,
work
but you
with.
got to have an itemized list, and that's like not doable.
Right.
Yeah, so there are things that you can do, but I wanted to kind of talk about that coffee can with silica packs. Whatever works for you. But no, I mean, seriously, there are some concerns you want to do, especially if you've got some nicer collectible coins. So I have to do one thing first. Happy birthday, Paula.
Yeah,
Number one.
happy birthday.
Oh, it's not my birthday.
It was yesterday.
Well, yesterday was happy belated birthday.
Thanks. I
Okay, so
avoided it.
Paula, I went and did something for you.
What'd you do?
I went to the Alamo. Okay.
Did you press a penny for me?
Oh no.
Oh.
Did you see that?
He's like, darn.
I pressed 1, 2.
I can't see anything. Are you
Oh,
showing
well,
something?
yeah, because I'm not showing up. You have to see the YouTube side. Anyway, I got 4 different designs for you. of elongated cents. And I'm going to be sending
Yay.
those off to you.
Thank you so much.
So, because I heard that it was your birthday, so Bifrost and I bustled on down to
Aw.
the Alamo and spun up 4 pennies, and we're going to be sending those off to you.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no worries. So I don't know if you have any of these. I was going to do 8, but the other kid that was doing it, we waited like 30 minutes, and he was having a really hard time spinning the wheel. And
Oh, it was a hand crank?
it was the hand crank one.
Nice.
Yeah.
So what'd you
and
do?
say again?
I was asking Paula what she ended up doing.
I took myself to the movies.
Nice. What'd you see?
I went and
A
saw
Nice.
Trap.
What was that?
Trap.
Oh,
What is that? I've never heard of that.
So it was good. It was kind of, so it's about this serial killer that the feds find out that he's going to be at this concert. He took his daughter to this concert, and the feds found out. They don't know who he is, but they find out because they found a receipt at one of his stash houses or whatever they call it, that he's going to be at this concert. So they set a trap, and they surround it, and they have all these like fail safe things in place that they're going to catch this guy at this concert. And it's
Interesting.
very,
Sounds like a fun movie.
yeah, it was a good movie. It was one of those though that I felt like they kept wanting to end it, but they couldn't quite figure out how to end it.
Oh,
So-
it goes on and on and on and on.
Yeah.
I got you.
So,
I
You
watched
know-
one of those yesterday.
yeah.
They have lost the art of the quick end. Let people hang, right? You don't have
Well,
to come
Still
to
never really ended.
yeah.
Yeah, I watched
There's
one
that.
yesterday that,
That'll kill a
And
good
then-
movie.
and it really had nothing to do with the whole plot of the whole movie. I was just like, seriously, this is how it ended? It like totally went off plot. The end was.
One of the worst
Didn't tell you
movie
if the kid died or not.
one of the worst closings in TV history was the Game of Thrones ending. That was horrible.
I never saw it.
Years and years of good, solid, dramatic
Yeah.
acting crushed in 3 episodes. Just destroyed the franchise. It was horrible. So yeah, not having a good ending or rushing the writing is a good way to terminate something that you have that's really good. Chuck Owens, good morning. Hope you're doing well. What's good morning, Strider? Hope you were well. Steve Point says, safest place is in your own possession. If you don't hold it, you don't own it. That is true, but there are some times where, like in my situation, I won't have it here. I show my face, people know the general facility where I'm at, and I won't have my high-end stuff at the house. If they want to come and take a couple books, then they can do that. That's fine. But I won't keep my stuff here. I've got a good place off-site that I store it in. Now, I'm not going to tell people whether it's a bank, a credit union, whether it's a storage facility, whether it's a friend's house. I'm not going to tell anybody where that is, but I know it's secure and it's insured and I have the stuff taken care of. But I won't store it at my house simply because I put my face out there all the time. There are other people who live in areas where it's just not safe to have a good quantity of precious metals in your place. So you make yourself prone to, some sort of violent intrusion, especially depending upon where you live. If I live in San Francisco, there's no way I would be storing that stuff at my house because it's anarchy rule in San Francisco. It's horrible.
I probably wouldn't store my stuff at home if it was like if I was stacking.
Yeah.
I may find a different alternative, but if I'm not going to be able to enjoy my coins on a regular basis, then I don't want them. You know what I mean? Like if I can't just like go pull it out and look at it and touch it, and
I kind of agree with that.
enjoy it, then
Well,
what's the point of
so here's the
having?
thing. So if I want to go look at this stuff, I know I just make a phone call and say, hey, I'm going to come pick up a couple items. And then I sign what I want to and pull it out and I bring it home and I look at it and do whatever I want to with it. Now Rockzilla, I'm in San Francisco on iStack. You understand what I mean though, Rockzilla, right? People leave their windows down in their cars because, people will break them just because they break them. And it's not every part of San Francisco. That's a rough generality, but you understand what I'm talking about.
It's
And
pretty much
so
every
I'm
part
not
of
picking specifically on San Francisco. There are other areas that are prone to crime or violent crime in that situation where you might not want to do it. There are stackers within the community who have had people show up to their door at gunpoint. And so,
Those
it's,
are
What?
usually inside jobs.
yeah.
Wow, yeah.
And so we had one guy, and I don't know if I should say his name. I'll say CS. If you know who CS is, you're good to go. Who actually had shots fired through his door. They knocked on his door, fired a couple shots through his door. Fortunately, he was a little delayed in getting to the door, but he turned around, did his stuff, and they took off. So again, if you make yourself known, your YouTube or whatnot, sometimes it's not safe. And so if you have that situation, then you need to look at alternatives and find stuff that's good. There are good alternatives out there, but the one thing I want to be careful with, or want you guys to be careful with, is to make sure that you guys do the research, right? Look at the company, find out where they're at, get with other people who are have worked with them, whether you buy from them or whatnot. There are places where you can buy from them and they just store it, and then when you want it shipped, they'll ship it in a big load. And that way you don't have to worry about your big purchases and things of that nature. But you do have to be careful because, again, where there's people willing to spend money, there's scammers out there willing to take it. And so all I want to say in this particular one really is do your due diligence, find your trusted sources, and do that, right? So you really want to be careful in that regard. David Carlisle says, I got something for him. Yep, I got the third precious metal, which is lead. Yep, I understand that. Yep.
Hey, you want to hear something funny, Paula?
I do.
I just searched a whole roll of 1969 Ds and didn't find one floating roof.
Really? Well, you know why? Because you know what that would actually look like.
Well, usually there is a floating roof in every
90%
roll, and there's not one in
of the
this roll.
people, Eric, and you know this, that find a so-called no FG or a floating roof don't actually find a floating
Right.
roof or a no FG.
Yeah, because
These
to
were
find a
all
no
really
FG, it actually has to be 100% gone.
But if you will notice, Eric, when people find those, they are rarely on a mint state
Yeah,
coin.
there you can always see the FG still.
Mhm. They are very rarely on a mint state coin. Same with the no FG. So if you find one of those on a mint state coin and it's truly missing, like the FG, there's no sign of it, then you may have something there. But
I
people
don't know
rarely
about that.
find those on mint state coins.
But yeah, I still don't think it's much of anything.
No,
Hey,
it's not.
hey, Eric,
It's not.
I got to stop the conversation real quick. We have a special guest in chat.
Oh, yay.
Miss Melanie Byer is in chat.
Well, look at that. She on her phone. She must be on the other one.
Wow.
Hi, Melanie. Thanks for
She's
coming up. I
making sure
appreciate
you're not
it.
buying nothing.
Oh no, she knows. I always tell her. We're on.
I know. I'm just teasing.
Hey, I
mean,
heard I heard you suffered a little bit of a pain situation. I hope you're doing well. Please recover.
She's probably doing better now because she just took a pain pill.
Yeah, I hope you
Is she in
recover.
a different chat than
She
I'm
must be
in?
in the phone chat.
She's in the phone chat. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
She's in the vertical stream. Yeah, not in the one that most of the people in. If you want to go to the other side, you can do that. But hopefully get feeling better. I just saw her name pop up and I was like, oops, I need to interrupt.
No, she loves the community too.
Oh, I know. Hey, she puts up with you. She's got to be a great woman.
No, that's a fact.
So no, but welcome, Melanie. I appreciate you coming in and visiting and saying hi.
Nice to meet you, Melanie. I've never met you before, but I adore your husband in a purely platonic friendship way.
Yeah,
In a
he's
non-floating
a
roof
good
way.
guy.
In a non-weird way.
Oh no, he's weird. He's weird.
Well,
Absolutely.
a little weird, but not that kind of weird. But
Oh, come on. You guys are being hard on me now.
he is a fantastic human being. He is a great guy.
Hey, Eric,
Yes.
just consider yourself a giant nostril and us as the giant fingers, okay?
There you go. There you go.
Yeah. Oh, I gotta tell you, Eric, did you know, are you a Star Wars fan?
Yeah.
Actually, Paul, I should ask you this question too. Are you a Star Wars fan?
I am not.
Okay. You got Yoda.
I mean, I enjoy a Star Wars movie, but I'm not. My son-in-law is a. Anyway, yeah, okay.
So ask your son-in-law if he knows. So in Empire Strikes Back, I noticed something that on Yoda's hut when Luke and him are there, that you can see Yoda's last name on his hut. And I didn't know Yoda had a last name. Did you know that Yoda had a last name?
I didn't.
The last name for Yoda is Leahy-Hoo.
Yeah, Leahy-Hoo. Oh, hey. Oh.
Anyway, I love that joke, by the way. Oh, the yodeling pickle. Oh, that was a great segue. Yes, perfect. I forgot about your yodeling pickle. That's hilarious.
Thanks for letting me bring my yodeling pickle out.
Yeah, that was funny. No, I love that joke. Too much fun.
Leahy-Hoo.
Condos are crushing folks in Miami and Fort Lauderdale.
Oh, it's not that bad.
Condos are crushing
Yeah,
folks.
there was
like
couple years
literally,
ago.
literally,
one fell. It was like right around between Fort Lauderdale and Miami, one fell. But that ended up making new laws where they can no longer, they have to have 25-year engineering inspections.
Yeah.
And if everybody would agree not to have it, they used to be able to sign a form to postpone it. They can no longer do that. And when Hurricane Ian hit, there is a bunch of condos in Fort Myers Beach that the people are basically losing because they don't want to put a couple $100,000 to rebuild the whole building with the new codes.
Well, I watched like a little documentary thing about that, and that place was a ticking time bomb.
Well, they
Like
are.
almost
And that
from
was
the
thing
beginning.
with the hurricane is that these people had already done it, and the engineers come through and they're like, if it's over a certain percentage to repair it, they have to bring it up to code.
Yeah.
And to bring it up to code basically meant to tear the building down and rebuild it.
Oh gosh.
So a lot of these people, and they're probably better off because they're probably going to get their money back because beachfront property is very expensive. Some of the lots I know are selling for over $20 million.
Yeah.
And when you have 20 condos or 30 condos in a building, and that lot's they're going to make money on it. They're going to get their money back, but they didn't want to pay out of pocket like 250 grand, 180 grand, depended on the building to fix it.
And you would think if they own one of those condos that they would have that kind of money, like that would not be.
A lot of them don't. A lot of them inherit them.
Well, that's true. That's
Yeah.
true. I didn't think about that. Mm-hmm.
Good morning, Ann Marsh. How are you? Hope you're doing
Yeah, a
well.
lot of
Chuck
those condos
Owens
were
has
built
to
in the
leave for the
70s.
day. Have a good one, Chuck. Take care.
Well, I would figure out a way to get the money, or I would sell it because.
Oh, that's like here right now. A community flooded because they opened the dam, so the dam didn't burst. And they're like, "Why? Why did you flood us?" Well, it was flood 150 homes, or everybody gets flooded. And they're like, "Well, this should have been disclosed in the builder should have known this and that." And I says, how many people actually read their 150-page document when they sign it?
Yeah.
It probably was disclosed.
Good morning, Chuck.
Morning, Chuck.
Charles.
Charles.
Hey, Chuck. Yeah, the
How you
county
doing,
come
sir?
right out and posted on the Facebook page that your builder knew all about this dam being here and that it could possibly be opened one day.
Oh my gosh.
So, and it was bad, but it could have been worse, you know?
I'm sorry. Yeah, that's just,
So for those of you who don't know, Copper Coins just popped in. Hey, I apologize for not being able to make the game yesterday. We had I was supporting a stream for Stacking Surfer, and I looked down at the time and was like, I'm missing the game. And then as soon as I dialed
Has
in,
he
my
ever
wife
been in
called me
here?
for
I've
dinner.
never seen him in here. Has he
Who?
ever been in your chat?
He's right there, Copper Coins.
No, Stacking Surfer.
Yeah, he's come in a couple times.
Oh.
But I wanted to pull this up. I just went. Copper Coins just set up a Discord server.
No, he did. I don't like Discord.
You know, it's not bad. It's not my primary, I don't dislike it. I use it because there's some things I do that I need to use it.
Really? What do
so
you
it's
need?
not bad.
What can you do on there that like
You can do anything. You can stream, you can chat, voice chat, you can send messages back and forth. You can post into like forum type things. It's actually pretty cool. And there's a lot of people that actually love to use it because it's very phone friendly.
Oh, phone, yeah. I have that's
It's very computer friendly. Anybody who plays computer games knows how to use it.
It's it's a kind of a pain when I'm on my tablet trying to get it when I get in there and try to. I don't know. It's just like I'm on enough stuff already.
Yeah. Well, and that's how I feel. But I do it. I pop into it. There's a couple of coin channels I pop into.
Yeah. See, Chuck, I have the same problem. Like it keeps wanting me. Sometimes I can get on really easy, and other times it's like it's asks me to verify, and then it won't let me in, and then it'll want me to claim my email, and I can't figure out how to claim my email. Like it's weird. I don't know, but I have problems with it too. I do have problems.
See, I have zero issue with Discord, like zero, never. I never have issues with it.
I mean, it's a little bit of everything in one spot. Like I said, you can do video, you can do audio, you can do a forum, you can do post pictures. It does everything.
Yeah, there's a lot of there's a lot of good that you can do in Discord. I don't set one up because there's too much. I got too much other stuff going on, so to manage one more thing. It's just difficult for me.
Yeah, that's kind of my thing.
I'm more concerned about, developing good videos and figuring out what the hell I'm going to talk about on the weekends. So, and then plus supporting people like Surfer and Tiger and other stuff. My issue has nothing to do with Discord. It has to do with the premature old age.
Nice. Yeah, mine too, Chuck.
Edge doesn't look rolled.
Understand that one.
Inkman, they don't always. So dryer coin is just. I'm sorry. I shouldn't interrupt. You guys finish. Go ahead,
we're finished.
Okay, I'm sorry. Dryer coin is just a catch-all term for any coin that is caught in any kind of rotational device. The edges are not always rolled. If you have a quarter that does not have reading, and it's not a broad struck or off center or something like that, then it is absolutely a damaged coin that has had the reading worn down. There's no other way for it to be anything else. So, but you probably Frostbyte, you can probably send Frostbyte pictures and he can probably pull it up. But a quarter, the reading is imparted in the collar, from the collar die. And so unless that coin was struck outside of the collar, it will have the reading when it's struck. Exactly. Slot machines, vending machines, other rotational devices that will wear off the reading. For sure. Yeah, they're all
So
considered like dryer coins. It's just kind of a catch-all term.
See, Chuck, you can use talk to text and you can't use Discord. I can use Discord and I can't use talk to text. My phone will come up with some weird statement that has nothing to do with what I said.
So if you guys ever want to figure out what the Discord server is, I have put it in the description of these two videos so you can look at the portrait or the landscape. I know that if you're in landscape mode, you can click on the links, but if you're in portrait mode, you can't. So if you're in portrait mode, you want to see that Discord server, go ahead and click on the description and it will be in that description below. Weldon Carey, how you doing? Good to see you. That's a brand new subscriber to my channel. He does some pretty cool knife work. So if you like collectible knives, go check out Weldon Carey. He does, I checked out his site outside of having one of the coolest logos I've seen for a while. Really cool site. Go check that out. Thanks for coming in, Weldon Carey.
So anyway, yeah.
I actually got called a Canadian in Dalton once.
A Canadian, eh?
I was about to say, did you say A?
I do, but I don't say it that much. I used to say it a lot, but yeah, they're always like, "Hey, you from what part of Canada you from?"
You know the one I like, don't you know?
Yeah, don't you know?
Don't you know? I want to see Stacking Surfer actually surf. He actually does surf. I told him he needs to do a couple videos of that, have somebody put some stuff out because he would gain another audience, especially if he goes out and surfs and then comes back and then talk about silver and gold stacking.
Do him and Nick's Coins still do their stream?
Oh, yes, I need to fix that. Chuck, thanks for letting me know though. Yeah, I will definitely change that. I need to put a white background and I need to make that black text on white.
Make the print white.
Even then, it's hard to discern because of the coloration behind.
Yeah, I can't see.
I need to fix that. That is something that I have meant to do. But yeah, thanks for the reminder on that. I appreciate it.
I can see the names, but I can't see the chat after the name.
Yeah, I have meant to fix that. That's just one of those things that I haven't got back to.
Yeah, I love the McKenzie brothers, Eric.
Nick's been on a break. Oh, on a break from YouTube? Okay. So they are still doing their thing?
Say that one more time.
Nick and Stacking Surfer, I asked if they were still doing their little...
I'm assuming they are. I know that Nick's been busy, so I'm not sure what's going on there.
I know somebody stole their name.
Yeah, well, yeah. So
Nick's too nice to say anything, but here comes Paula. Anyway.
Yeah. But yeah, again, I haven't seen one recently. I know they talk about it. I'm going to be doing some stuff with them because I want to make sure that we get to that talk about the finance piece. I'm really about educating the kids. Oh, I want to share something with you. I want to do something first. Real quick. So they just sent me the dryer coin, so I'll pull that up really quick.
Okay.
Today is the last day for the World Fair of Coins. Okay?
World's Fair of Money.
The World's Fair of Money. It is free today. If you are in or around the Chicago area, you don't have to pay to get in. You have to have a valid driver's license to make sure that you get in, but it's free. So if you live in that area, there are some really, really cool things that are on display there. Again, it is in Chicago. We'll pull up the ANA site here in just a minute, talk about some of the items that are there. But it starts in about 45 minutes. So if you're interested, you live close, John Shank, I was there. Hey, John, did you get me one of those coins?
You know what? I just found out about those. They were actually selling the $5 silver version.
Really?
That were only available there. Those
Oh,
were
man.
for sale.
I might need to call.
They'll be on eBay Monday.
I might need to call Mid-America Coins, though.
Well, yeah, why? You think he bought them?
I'm sure he did. Kraken,
Anyways,
am I
year-
mad at you? I'm always mad at you, Kraken.
Kraken!
Next year,
No, not at all, brother. If you've sent me something, I have been crazy busy, bud. No, but I'm not mad at you at all. So I at least I hope you don't feel that way. Sorry, bud. Have you ever looked at your family history to see what relatives you done might be surprised? I know a lot of my family history. My aunt works for the LDS Church in the archives. So she actually works. I'm not LDS, but she is. But a lot of her work has gone through the genealogy and establishing the entire lineage of my family. Most of my family, I'm what they call Black Dutch, which is Scandinavian Irish. I'm up in that area. So I have a lot of history. Won't go too much into it, but yeah, I'm up in that area. Thanks for the sub, guys. Means a lot. Did you hit 400 yet, Weldon Carey?
The president of the ANA took me to a side and gave me 4 coins. What coins did
Oh, that's
the
pretty cool,
president of
John.
the ANA give you?
Let me pull my email up real fast and get this coin up.
Next year's World Show of Money or whatever it's called is in Pittsburgh, so everybody knows. World Fair of Money.
All right, here's that coin.
Okay, I need to see the edge because that doesn't help me at all. There it is. Yeah, that's just worn down. I wouldn't even call that a dryer coin. I would just call that a worn coin.
Worn coin. Now, looking at the first one, it's definitely a later die state because you can see the, right?
It's just worn down.
That's all that is?
It's just worn. It's worn.
So,
yeah, I would just call that a very well-loved, played with coin. And it's in the 80s, so it probably wasn't a video game. It probably made its way through lots and lots of video games.
I know I've put more than my fair share in there.
Yeah, lots and lots of video games.
God, the feeling when your mom and dad gave you $10.
Oh,
Right?
I used to mow the yard, and my granddad would be like, what do you want to go do? And it's like Peter Piper Pizza was kind of just like a 15-minute bike ride from the house. And my favorite game was the 2-joystick kung fu game. Where you had the 2 karate fighters and you had to do that. I loved playing that one. And then the other one,
Galaga. I would play that at the
we had the Atari and the Tandy and all that stuff. So we played Galaga at home along with a Bombardier and stuff.
I played one called Tempest. I love that stupid game.
Now, Tempest was fun. But the one that I liked was you remember the Olympic game where you had all the track and field and you had to run and do the hurdles and you had the javelin throw.
Atari, right?
Huh?
Mm-hmm.
That was on the Atari too.
It was called track and field. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you throw the javelin and stuff. I was really, really good on that. I had all the records on that particular video game at that store. So my granddad would give me $10 in quarters. I would take half of them, put them aside, and then I would take the other half and I would go to Peter Piper Pizza and I would sit there and play video games. They always, I had friends that worked there, so I always got free pizza. And so they would take breaks and I would play video games with them and then sit there and hang out and eat pizza and drink soda and do whatever. It was a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
Yeah, I still can feel that rush when my dad.
This is
It would just be a
Gibson.
surprise that a $10 bill would come out and you'd just go, ooh. I
Yes,
know what I'm
Ventress
doing.
was signing COAs. I did see that Ventress was signing COAs. President of the ANA. You never said what the president of the ANA, what coins he gave you.
John, if you have the capability, take photos of them and send them over. I'd love to be able to see those and share with them because that's pretty cool.
That is Thomas.
I feel the need for speed. So Kraken, have you been trying to get a hold of me? If you've been trying to get a hold of me, I don't have an email.
Did you send Chuck the link?
Did
Or
I
did
send?
he say he didn't want to come
Does Chuck
up?
want to come up?
Chuck, you want to come up and play? Can
Chuck, come
out
hang
and
out
play?
with us. Here's the link. Chuck, go ahead and click on it.
I finally drew my Corvette. He doesn't want to. No, it's a show. John Shank doesn't want to say what kind of coins they are. I don't care about your Corvette. I want to know what kind of coins you got. I thought you said you drove your Corvette all the time.
Grandma's vet. I'm not sure what that
Grandma's
means.
vet.
If he has a vet, you can pay the ticket. They're having a discussion. I'm clearly missing
would love
something.
I guess.
If I got in, somebody would take 10 people to get me out.
Oh, you know the car. So I'm a short guy, right? I'm 5'7", 200 pounds. The one car that I got in that I was just like, oh, there's no way in hell I would ever drive this. Like I couldn't, it was uncomfortable just to sit in, was the Dodge Viper. That is
Yeah.
the most
All sports
uncomfortable car to sit in. It's horrible.
Yeah, all sports cars are made for people under 6 foot
Thank you,
tall.
brown sugar.
Hey, Brown Sugar, how are you?
Thank you, honey.
But you get into the real exotic sports car, it's like they're made for people 5.5 foot tall. They're that. I mean, my knees are usually up, but you can see them in the windshield.
Yeah, I can't do that.
Yeah.
Okay,
I'm
Captain.
I'm like 90% legs. so I
Captain
can't-
Obvious here.
I
You
can't
bought a
do that.
Corvette. Yeah. It's a car.
Yes. Yes.
Hey,
we know.
Ashes,
That's-
what's going on, brother?
Okay. That wasn't what I wanted to know. I wanted to know what kind of coins the president of the ANA took him aside and gave him. He said the president of the ANA took me aside and gave me 4 coins. That was like 15 minutes ago, and I'm still trying to figure out. I'm still asking what kind of coins they were.
Oh, Chuck got a new computer, so everything might not be set up.
Oh,
come
yeah, that's right.
on. I want to see him get on here and try to figure it out. Come on, Chuck. No excuses. Excuses are for sissies. It's a secret. It must be a secret.
He says, "Where
That's
did you put the link?"
I'll ask.
It's
Tom.
right below your
When I talk
right
to
below
him.
your comment. Go ahead and click on it.
I'll just ask Tom next time I talk to him. It's okay.
It's like we need to know. We need to know.
Yeah, inquiring minds want to know. Well, Adam was able to get all of us one of those coins on the panel. I'm super excited about that. But he had to fill out a little card for each of one of us individually, him and Farm Dog.
That's cool. Yeah, I really wanted one. I don't think I'm going to get one, but I'll have to wait until they're on eBay and I'll just have to buy one.
Or you can keep an eye out on what was it called? The Mr. Mint, or I can't remember what their name is that was that made the coins.
Hey, look who's here.
The
Good morning.
Good
Good
morning.
morning.
Can everybody hear me? Yeah.
Loud
Yeah.
and clear.
What do you need to know?
How was your morning?
I need to know.
My morning has been good so far.
Minted Assets. That's Minted Assets. So keep an eye on Minted Assets website.
Wait a minute. Why am I
Because
hearing
they-
two of you? Oh, there we go.
I don't know. Because I'm double your pleasure, double your fun.
Isn't that double mint gum?
There we go.
It is.
Double mint gum. But keep an eye out on Minted Assets on their website, because they were allowing people to get extra coins after their initial one. So they may have some that will come available on their website. I'm hoping that they'll have some of the silver ones come available, but I think they're only a 600 mintage.
Well, I don't know, but Minted Assets has a 5-ounce
All right, they are
2024.
available online starting August 11th.
Okay.
Oh, so
The
afterwards.
$1
okay.
or the $5?
It doesn't say. It says there's silver coins and gold coins.
Okay, the silver ones are the $5 one. The $1 ones are the ones that they gave away at the
The silver coins are
Andy.
$129,
Okay.
and
August 11th, so
the gold
tomorrow.
coins are $3,925.
Sent you a pic, Frosty.
$100 coin.
Cool.
And they don't
Yeah, the
say
silver
anything
ones are
about the
the-
other coins.
The silver one's very pretty. Thomas. Oh, cool. Very cool. One of his stickered coins.
That's cool.
I think those are probably on like Sacagaweas or presidential dollars, one of those, I think. He has his sticker. Very cool.
So let's do. There's it's A&A.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. So his little then he made token. Mist at, I don't know what that means. Tokens. Cool. Little stickered tokens. Cool. So those are not technically coins.
They are exonumia.
Exonumia.
I like that word.
You should hear me try to say that.
THAT.
Chuck, are you still trying to figure out your computer, Chuck? Are you still hearing two?
No, I'm here. I'm just listening.
Oh, because
How did your game go, Chuck?
It went well, but too
I'm
slow.
gonna go get some coffee. I'll be right back.
So
I
we
have
need,
to.
we need to work out that audio thing.
Yes, we do.
So
We gotta
I
figure out
think
something.
I think I have a way to do that, and that is through people dialing in. You can have the one person dial in at the telephone,
Uh-huh.
and I think I know how to do that. I have a person that does that regularly, and so I can reach out to them and find out exactly how you do that. So
Okay.
as soon as I get that information, I'll share that with you. We'll do a couple trial runs and get you set up for that. It'll definitely make it easier for you.
What's
Does
wrong with
that
the
include
sound?
sharing my phone number?
It won't be your phone number. It will be a specific number tied to the stream.
Okay.
So it won't be something. If you're not on, they won't even be able to access it. So I'll get all the details. There's some things that have to happen, but I don't know exactly what they are. I've never tried to have somebody dial in to Streamlabs or OBS through a telephone. So I'll get with them and find out exactly how they set that up, and then I'll work with you and we'll get that configured, because that'll definitely make the game go a lot faster.
Sounds righteous to me. That would be really the only thing that I would need that would make this game a killer.
Yeah.
I need to watch it. I meant to go back and watch it.
I watched the first part of it before I fell asleep. And,
Oh, so it's that thrilling.
no, I go to sleep
No, it's
early.
that long.
I'm
Yeah,
just
I go to
teasing.
sleep early anyways.
I'm just kidding.
But
But
yeah,
that did sound bad.
there was an issue with so and so here, and they wouldn't be there.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, they buy spots into a live game and don't show up.
What?
Not really sure I understand that.
What? Okay. Well,
Yeah,
that
there
is
needs to be, there has to be a design around it. If like you have to be here, right? This game doesn't work
Right.
without you, and I'm not doing that for you.
Maybe it's something that you sell live. You
Yeah,
go
that's
on
what I
and
was
say,
just gonna
this is
say,
going to be the
sell it
game, and anybody
live.
who shows up buys in.
That could work.
I think that would be much better.
That could work.
Yeah, but again, I forgot that I was supporting Surfer, and we're doing our stream, and I looked down, I was like, oh, I'm missing the show. And then as soon as I got off, my wife was like, come eat dinner. So I got to watch like 10 minutes of it.
Come eat dinner. I had another guy who bought spots in it and then came in and said, it's date night. I have to go with my wife. And it wouldn't look very good me trying to play a game while we're sitting at dinner.
I've got in trouble for doing that. So not a good move. Yeah, definitely not a good move.
Yeah,
But-
definitely sell it live. So explain it. Well, I know. Never mind. Don't explain it. I'll just go watch it. How
I
it
can
works.
explain it in a very quick hurry.
Yeah,
Okay,
do it.
then
Because
fine.
there's
I just
other
wanted-
people here.
I wanted people to go watch and give you the views. But go ahead if you want to.
Well, but
Yeah,
I think it'll be good if he explains it so they understand what's happening.
Right.
And this was the first time that he's done it this way. I think it's a brilliant idea, and if we can get the telephone thing dialed in, that would be an amazing. But I
Oh,
think
your
you do need to do it
lifeline.
for they have to buy them live.
Right. Well, the idea to the game is basically you're playing a high-low game with the dates on coins. So
Oh.
I draw a coin out and it happens to be a particular date. You think that the next coin in the box might be higher. You say higher. And if I pull out a higher date, you win and keep going. You get all the coins that you select successfully. That's all there is to it.
So you buy one spot or do you buy?
You buy in once
Yeah.
and
Okay.
you get a start coin. Your start coin is yours. That's the coin you bought. Then you guess on the next coin. So say if I've got coins in the box that are from 1934 up to 2022, and I pull out a 1937 coin, and it's probably likely you're going to say higher for the next date because most of them in the box are higher. So you say higher. I pull out 1957, and both of those coins are yours.
Oh, okay. So you
Seven.
just keep
Yeah.
going until you
Keep going until you lose.
lose, but all of the coins that you
All of them.
previously guessed right are yours.
Yes.
That's correct.
Oh, okay.
So you don't
I
lose
had,
when you get wrong. You don't lose the coins that you've already received.
Okay. Yeah.
I had one person last night purchase a spot at $5 was the price of the spot last night. We're changing that for next time, but it was $5 a spot, and they won 17 coins on a $5.
Wow.
Just happened to
Cool.
work out that they got their hires and their lowers right.
And then there's Dan McCumber.
And then there's Dan McCumber.
Who guessed once and lost?
Dan McCumber
Didn't get the
me.
first coin right.
usually gets 2 coins about every time he plays.
Well, what's funny
Sometimes he
was
gets 3.
it's like a 1944, right? And you go higher, and it's a 1943.
Right.
That would be
And
me.
that's exactly what happens to him.
Yeah. Hey, what's
not
going
his
on? Speak
collection
of Dan,
skills.
how you doing, brother? Good to see you.
I feel your pain, Dan.
It's
I have
more the
that kind of
mixture
luck
the
too.
coins. Dan he did okay last night. He did pretty good last night.
Yeah. So they were joking around in the stream. It's like, hey, you pulled a McCumber.
Right. Well, Mickey is the new one. Mickey somehow had 2 spots and he lost on both of them after the first coin.
Oh yeah.
Ouch.
Right.
He furred it. We'll have to do something like defer. Robert Bruce, good day. I hope you're doing well.
So that's like Chevy Chase going to the casino that had like rock, paper, scissors.
Yeah. Well, and the contents of these boxes are BU wheat cents from
Oh
1930.
yeah, no, I know. I'm
There's
sure.
proof Lincolns from 1953 up. Silver nickel, silver dime, silver quarters. There's also nickel, dime, and quarter proofs, including national parks quarters. It's actually, there's some value in it.
Isn't the 53 proof the one with the re-engraved tie?
Yes, not tie, but it's the
Or not tie, vest.
Yeah, the vest line.
The vest, yeah.
Yeah. There's also a 53 proof with a really nice double die that shows in the date.
Yeah.
That's FS 101.
Yeah, but he's got a fun game going. I think that's something. If we can get the telephone thing working out, Chuck has a brilliant idea with that, and I think that number one, it's extremely fair, unless you're Mickey and you lose on the first coin. Most people
know how it's going to turn out because I don't have a clue what order the coins are in the box.
right,
And when I start them off, I just put a marker in a box and we start with the next coin. I have no idea where it's going. I have no idea what that next coin is until I pull it. Everything's a surprise, even to me.
And the one thing that's cool about this is that, so he shows everything. You can see exactly where it's at. He stacks the coins and does whatever. And so you see where the coins are in the boxes. They're stacked, they're lined in the box. You can see, you have the top down view. You can see where his hands are at all times. There's never breaks from the video or anything like that. So it's 100% totally upfront. Everybody can see exactly what's going on. The buy-in, what are you thinking about buying in? $10?
No, the buy-in is going to be $7.50.
$7.50, okay. Most people will probably get, 2, 3, 4. Oh, hold on. Nick Molinard, need to get back to bed. Leg was really bothering me last night. Hope you're doing good, bud. You and I need to get together. We've been talking about doing a live stream, and we haven't coordinated that. Let's find some time, but you get some rest, get feeling better, and then reach out to me, and we'll coordinate. We've been talking for 2 years, and we still haven't actually coordinated one. We need to get that under wraps. So get feeling better, Nick. Okay, that's really important. So take care of yourself. But yeah, who said he cleaned up? Sissy and Gatita cleaned up last night.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So, but it's, again, they got a really good thing, and you guys know I talk up copper coins, live coin Q&A. You guys know I talk them up all the time, because of the level of integrity that these two channels have, but just the generosity of these people. And so go over and check those out. You've got to check out that game. It's a lot of fun what they do over there. If you haven't seen the reveals, go check out the reveals. That's fun as well. Both Eric and Chuck do that. And then on Monday nights, 7:30 Central?
7 o'clock.
Huh?
7 o'clock, the reveal. So
7
there will be
o'clock,
one
okay.
Monday too.
What? You guys are doing a show? It's a...
No, it only lasts like 20 minutes.
I know.
They're ending just as you guys are
I
starting.
think it's starting.
Yeah.
And the
So
only
following,
reason it's on
yeah. So
Monday is because I can't get people to show up on Sunday.
It's okay.
So Monday is when they show up, and I'm trying to sell reveals that'll be done throughout the remainder of the week.
yeah. So if you guys
There's
haven't
only
done that,
7
go check
days
that
in a
out.
week.
It's right before live coin Q&A. So you got basically both shows back to back. It's a really good setup.
Okay.
Normally, so for me at 6:30, I have a hard time usually getting there. But if it's something you want to do, yeah, a lot of cool things out there. So go check them out. Again, everybody that's up here on panel, I can't tell you how much I appreciate the tutelage and the information that they've given me over the last 2 years. They've
Yeah, we're very, very cool people, so you know.
We're really
Patting my
super,
back, 'cause-
super
well, you have
cool.
to be cool because I'm Frostbyte, you know.
We're the coolest.
But no, and
Something's
I know they get frustrated when I talk them
Three
up,
of us
but
are.
they're genuinely good people. So I want to promote the people that are really in to grow our hobby, and so these guys really are about that.
the big special thing coming up this next week is that I will have an original unopened roll of war nickels.
Nice.
So
Which?
I'll have 40 spots. I'm not going to tell you the date yet.
Oh, come on.
No, absolutely not. I will have an original roll of 1940s.
1940s. That narrows it down.
They were minted between 1942 and 1945.
Thanks.
I will have this book ready when you're
Somewhere
going through
between
that.
Philly and San Francisco and Denver.
Yes, that's correct.
So if you guys haven't seen this book, this is the Henning Nickel book. Whenever anybody's going through war nickels and stuff, get that book and have it handy.
Yes, and let me tell you something. If you guys are out there and you are only looking for that looped R or weighing them and thinking that those are the two things that you need to have to determine that it's a Henning, then you really need to get that book.
Yeah, because there is so much more.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
There are several.
Well, if there was just the loops in the other thing, that wouldn't be a very long book.
Yeah. There's several obverse and several reverse dies. So.
Well, they could still fill it up with pictures.
Yeah,
I like pictures, though.
But
pictures are nice until you're paying for them on paper.
Yeah. It's not a cheap book, that's for sure. But good news, the Litecoin Q&A still has one left to give away.
Ooh, so I'll have to be there whenever you give it away.
And a Cherry Picker's Guide.
Oop.
First edition, but volume.
Well, now, did I hear Cherry Pickers?
Sixth edition, volume 1. 6th edition, volume 1. That's the one. Yeah. What?
Cherry Picker's Guide is selling reprints, aren't they?
They are. They sure are. And I'll tell you, if you don't have any of the 6th edition, they have a three volume deal right now. Whitman does. You would be much better buying all 3 volumes. But they did a volume reprint on volume 1. Mm-hmm.
Really?
Yep. So if you paid $200, $300, $400 for a volume 1, I'm sorry, you can buy one now for $39.95. Or you can come to Litecoin Q&A and get one for free if you win it.
And what is the book called again?
The Cherry Picker's Guide?
Just for people who might have missed that.
Oh, Cherry Picker's Guide, 6th edition, volume 1.
Well, Cherry Picker's Guide of Rare United States Coin Varieties.
Yes,
something like that.
I need the one with the pennies. Which one is that one?
That's the volume 1.
Yeah, volume 1 and all of the different ones since number 4. Volume 1 goes to nickels and volume 2 starts at dimes.
Yes, or half dimes.
So I am going to put this in chat. So if you haven't already done this, I'm buying the thing right now.
Yeah, I feel horribly, and don't pay any attention to the pricing because they did no revisions, they did no updating, they just did a straight reprint. So all of the pricing, everything is all the same. Which I don't understand why you would do that and not why you would do a reprint and not update the pricing anyway.
But they did all that so my name could go in another book.
Yeah, there you go. Well, I mean, my suggestion was that they do like a little addendum or something and stick it at the back of the book, something, but they don't listen to me.
Nah, they'll sell it as a separate pamphlet.
Probably, huh? So
only $7.95. Now you can use your Cherry
updated prices, yeah. Which they're really not, because we know usually how long it takes for between the time they originally are finished with editing it and the time it comes out to print, the pricing is probably not accurate anyway. Same with the red book, but just look up sold listings.
Hey, Eric,
Yes.
Just look up sold
can
listings.
I tell them about the 1909s?
Well,
Please do.
I wouldn't give them a whole lot because there's not a whole lot to give except we're reviewing them.
I saw
Right.
I saw that. I did see that.
I understand there's no conclusion as of yet,
That you listed some and changed them to class 3. I did see that.
but the Rabbit Hole Research Group, including Sean Tu, Kathy Hoffman, Jay Painter, and Ryan O'Hannon, have submitted close to 75 coins, all 1909 double die reverses, for me to take a look at and figure out what the actual true story is regarding these. James Wiles has stopped attributing new dies to the 1909 issue, and he stopped because it became a mess. He got up to 60 something dies and decided that, there's got to be some of this that is repetitious information on working hubs or master dies or something. And so they asked me if I would take a look at all this, and I've got stacks of 1909s on my desk now, going through the process of detail photographing every single coin and looking at them for markers, comparisons, things that are the same, things that are different, and making an attempt anyway at refining the list down to where I believe it should be. It's going to take me a couple of months to get that
Yeah,
done.
I mean, because mathematically it's a mess.
Yeah, it is.
If I never see another 1909 Lincoln cent, I'm cool.
Yeah, and here I'm the one taking all the pictures. So
Well, that's okay. I mean, I would have helped take pictures, but geez, would we look at 500 a piece?
something like that. Yeah, we've been through a lot of them,
Woo.
but they are, let's say, confusing.
Yep.
We have found markers that are shared, die markers that are shared between coins that have different doubling on them, and have figured out that
Shared with coins that have no doubling on them.
and ones that have no doubling. That's correct.
Yep.
And we've figured out that one of the master dies of the Type 2 design had markers on it. So it had scratches and stuff that were not taken off prior to making hubs. And so there are a number of dies out there that have the same markers, which makes it all that much more confusing.
Yeah. All the way to 1918.
Yeah, they go up to 1918, those markers do. So they use the same master die for at least 7 or 8 years.
I think I've even found one in 1923 on PCGS that has those same reverse markers.
That doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, and that makes sense because if you look at through history, I mean, they use the die year in and year out. Like 68, they had to replace it. But you're talking about billions of coins then, not millions of coins. So
Yeah, the process was more or less different by then.
yeah,
But we are expecting to be able to come up with some sort of consensus on exactly what it
I
is.
hope so, because what I hear, this has been something that has been talked about for decades.
40 years.
It is something that has been known for a long time.
Yeah.
And there was a bit of controversy over the method by which they arrived at the conclusion that they arrived at. And I'm going to try to resolve this mess and get it straightened out once and for all. I had a conversation with James Wiles about it.
Oh, did he end up replying to you then, huh?
Yes, he did. And basically he said, I'm just kind of done with it because it got too complicated and I don't have time for it.
Perfect.
And I said, okay, so that's what it is.
Now, when you're talking
And-
about looking at the die varieties and the die markers and stuff like that, you're looking at these are 1909 VDBs or non-VDBs?
Both.
Okay, so you're looking at how many different types of dies? I mean,
types of dies.
Class
Or
threes is
yeah.
their theory. Their theory is that these are all class 3.
They
Okay.
definitely are. They're definitely class 3 hub doubling. Where that hub doubling happens is the big question. Whether it happened on a working hub or working die, we don't quite know yet. But the premise to the whole thing is that these double dies are all the Type 1 1909 and the Type 2 1909 hubbed into the same tool used for making coins. Whether that went into a working hub or a working die or a number of them, we don't really know yet. That's what we're studying. That's what we're trying to figure out. But these are definitely class 3 hub doubling. The class 3 means a design hub doubling, which
Shallow and deep.
on design hub doubling, you have one design over a different design. If you'll harken back and think about the 1960 double die with the RPM 1960D, it's 1DO001 or FS101. That's the one that has the small date over the large date, and they're both obvious. You can see it.
Yep.
That is what we're talking about with these 1909s. You have the Type 1 design and the Type 2 design hubbed into the same tool. And so you can see both designs. You can see remnants of both designs in especially the central area of the design on the coins. And I'm of the opinion that there's one or two working hubs that received these designs, but there are also a number of individual dies that receive these designs.
Well, I stopped being excited about them
Well,
when
ultimately, they're not
when
very
they got
exciting.
to like the 20th different
I mean,
dies.
you
I
have
don't
to
know.
look. The coin has to be middle, like AU 55 or higher, or you don't see it. It's gone.
Yeah.
Right. And that's one thing that's battling against it. But when you really think about things and think about copper coins and what I've been doing for 25 years,
Right.
I'm not doing this to make people excited. I'm doing it to document
Oh no, I know
Yeah.
what you're doing it.
and given that I'm doing this to document things, I'm also expected to come up with values for said coins. And
Yeah.
trust me, the values for said coins are not going to be much, if any, higher than the quote unquote normal coins
Yeah.
for the issue. These are not beautiful, rare double dies that are knock your socks off. These are pretty much very plentiful. I'm not going to say very plentiful. You look through 100 coins, you can expect to find at least 10 of them.
You think so?
Yes.
All right. Well, we found 4 and 500.
Yeah, we did. But we're looking at somewhere around roughly a 10% ratio. And that's
Now, I could live with a 10% ratio, but even now, there's so many dies, it's way over 10%.
So
Well,
many dies.
that's because all of the dies that have been listed don't necessarily exist.
And that's what I said early on, that these 11 or 12 of these could be the same die pair.
It could be, could
Yeah.
easily be. I have on my screen. Let me see if I can I check.
Now, I want to ask you, and I'm not going to say any names, but how confident are you that regardless of what conclusion you come to, you will convince you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm getting at, Eric.
I know what you're saying too.
My work is not a work of convincing anyone. I don't really care to convince you. I care to
list
and document what I see.
Okay, I just want to be sure in that, because it's that somebody else that would get them very frustrated.
I'm in the basement with a screen share.
Gotcha.
And I'm sure, Eric, you know exactly what.
No, I know exactly what you're talking about.
This is a set of photos from one
Because
die.
unless your conclusion is exactly like.
And if you look over here, you can see just a little tiny bit of doubling on the outside edge of the O there. But if I move on through these images, now this is one that does not happen to share the big master die markers. but there are little markers everywhere, like this little dot on the U. Those little things can help you figure out 2 coins from the same die. But if you keep looking, and we'll get down to the exciting part. Right here, you can see that there's an extra little crosslet to the T right there. And then over here, the E looks a little doubled, and there's the center of it that's a little doubled. This is a bad set of images. But here's the M of America, shows a little tiny bit of doubling. This is what happens when you overlap the number 1 design with the number 2 design.
Now I have a question for you, Chuck.
Yeah.
Because I think I remember reading, and this happens to me all the time, but I think I remember reading that one of those designs was Brenner's and the other was Barber's. Barber liked the more squared off, like finished look.
That's more or less correct.
And Brenner had kind of more like the rounded, not finished.
There was something to do with some
sloppy-ish.
angles that Brenner
Yeah,
had to,
angles
that,
and stuff. Right.
Barber had to clean up.
Right.
A lot of this had to do with the overall design being a little too rounded, a little too Art Nouveau
Yeah.
for
Barber's
chief engraver.
taste.
And so the chief engraver decided to clean up the design and
Yeah.
make it a little less Art Nouveau and a little more quote unquote legible. And
Right.
I don't know that this actually had anything to do with strengthening dies. I don't know that it had anything to do with strengthening the design.
Because that was a theory, right?
Yes, but there is also a possibility that it had to do with Barber wanting to own the design and did not like
Yes.
Brenner and did not like Brenner's work and decided that he wanted to add his own signature.
Exactly. And I think that's the one I believe.
So, yeah, it could be a totally a thing of animosity.
Especially when you read the letter about the leaving the letter
Exactly.
B on for Brenner, and he goes, "Well, I've got coins that have B on for Barber."
Yeah,
So he didn't want to
exactly.
do it.
They
So-
didn't like each other at
Here's-
all.
Here's my overall set of images so far on this.
So we were asked, can you show a couple more images?
Sorry,
It's
I
really
didn't
hard
mean
for
to
the people
interrupt
that
you,
are
but
in
I
the
had
portrait mode. It's really hard to see.
Let me find one of the good ones.
Yeah,
A lot of
the
these-
first one that Jay Painter, first one on the list, is pretty good.
First one of Jay Painter's on the list.
It's on the list, on the die list.
Okay.
The first
because
one was
it
pretty
shows-
good.
Yeah, this one, this is the good one. This shows doubling on the top of the N and doubling on the top of the E, and you can see how the doubling continues over here.
Okay, so real quick, is there anybody in chat who cannot tell what we're talking about? Is there anybody who can't see it?
And I
'Cause
can't see chat right now, so.
Well, no, I will go ahead and tell them. What I may have you do is, can you zoom in a little bit more on the top of the N?
Yeah, that's because this is going to confuse people.
Yeah. So it's important that you understand, number one, this guy knows what he's looking at, but it's important that you understand what you're seeing. Okay.
This is actually better because you actually get a little bit of step right there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now, again, when we're talking about doubling, and Chuck, please correct me if I say this incorrectly. When you're talking about like ejection doubling and stuff like that, it takes away from the ultimate design. However, when you're talking about a doubled die or you're talking about something like this, it's always additive to the element that it's on.
Dimensionally, yes.
Yeah.
I do have
Okay.
another
So
picture
everybody's
of that.
saying, yeah, now we can see it. Thank you. That makes more sense.
More
We're
Well,
seeing
that's a
it.
Yeah.
good one. The top
See,
of the wheat there.
right
That's
here.
a good one.
Yeah, and
So-
you can see it on the wheats.
Mm-hmm.
And these pictures are actually relatively well focused. The problem is that I'm blowing them up like 1,000% here.
Right.
You can see it really well right there on the edge of the seat.
Yeah.
Yeah. So again, I wanted to stop just to see, because you see this stuff, but a lot of people wouldn't be able just to see this. So breaking that in a little bit, people understand. But again, folks, these things he can see with a loop. Okay. He doesn't necessarily need a microscope to be able to see these things.
Correct.
And so again, use your tools, right? Use the tools that are provided to you, and look through those. Again, you don't want to zoom in at 5,000 times magnification.
I think this one even had doubling within the wheats.
It does.
Yeah.
I'm showing
Yeah.
it right now. There's-
Now, if I was looking at this and not thinking like, oh, it's got a little clash there too. Anyway, if I was looking at this and not thinking like it being a class 3, I would be scratching my head trying to figure out which class this was.
Well, this is actually different. I'm glad you brought that up. I do not believe the doubling around the outside edge, all of this right here, is even related to the doubling in the center.
Okay.
So there are two different hubbings, two different ways with two different things that went on. That
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I'd be going,
this is a
okay, it's
class
got to
2
be a
plus 6.
combination.
This is
Sorry.
distorted and distended hub doubling.
Right.
And then what you see in the lettering right up here, this is class 3. This is two different designs being hubbed into the same die.
Yeah,
you
I
have
can
class
see that.
3
And on the
shows-
end too, right? You can see it on
Yeah.
the end, that deep
Yep,
cut over
exactly.
or
You have
shallow.
class 3 that shows right here where the two different M's come together very
Mhm.
slightly off of one another. But this down here is not part of that. This down here is part of the class 2 doubling that spreads toward the
Okay.
rim. Now, if I can show you also this lower wheat stem here,
Because that
can
I
see how
have not
it-
seen mentioned.
you can see how
Well, this is not, most of them aren't like this one.
because it wasn't listed anywhere.
Okay.
I'm discovering all of this stuff as we go along.
Okay.
But you can see here you have doubling on the outside of the wheat.
Mhm.
You have doubling on the inside portion of the wheat. And if you get close enough and look, some of these actually have doubling on the wheat grains themselves.
Can you zoom that in just a little bit?
Not easily.
That's fine. And
Oh,
I know
that's
that it's going to be a little bit blurry, but this will give
Yeah.
people that are
This up here will
utilizing
give you
the
best idea.
phone
I'm
to
looking
see a little bit more of what you're looking at.
And this down here, the wheat stem itself, people who know the design and know 1909s and have looked at a few 1909s can see that this is extra thick. This
Yeah.
isn't supposed to be like this. And that adds to the overall case that this is not just a class 3 double die that shows in some of the lettering like this crosslet of the T right up here is doubled.
Mhm.
That's the class 3. That's part of having the design 1 sitting underneath design 2. But you also have all this stuff down here that's pretty obvious doubling. And that has nothing to do with the doubling up here. It's completely different doubling. So you actually have what would technically be called a tripled die.
Yeah.
Because
A triple die
doubling.
with different classes. That's crazy.
Yeah, this is
Yeah.
this die would actually be listed as a class 2 plus 3 plus 6
hmm
because the
Huh.
2 and the 6 is on the outside edges and the class 3 is in the middle.
And now
And
you
you
can see why it would
Yeah,
be so
that's why I
confusing.
said
Yeah.
if I was looking at this, I would have had a hard time. It would have had to have been multiple because I would have been scratching my head going, okay, what? If
Well,
this
the
is
hard
class
time-
3, then it's also got to be this and this because it.
The hard time comes in picking them apart because there's so many of them that are very similar to one another.
Right.
And the reason I say that is that it is likely that these were mostly created in the same run, possibly on the same day.
That clash is nice though.
Yep, you got a nice die clash there, and that die clash, that's the top of Lincoln's head
hmm
showing through, and some of it over here. That is another one of the factors. It's another one of the things that says, okay, well, these are different dies. Now we've got to figure out whether all of this doubling came from working hubs or whether any of this doubling came when the die itself was hubbed. And that follows in the pyramid of how dies are made. They start off with a galvano or an epoxy engraving, whichever it be. That is either digitally traced or traced with a feeler machine called a Hanveer lathe. And we're talking in different periods of time, the same
Right.
things are created, but those end up creating what's called a master hub. A master hub has the same relief as a coin, and it's the same size as a coin. That master hub is then used to create a couple of master dies. Master dies have a reverse relief. So hub makes a die, makes a hub, makes a die, and that's kind of how it works.
Like a family tree.
Yes, you've got the hub that makes master dies. Master dies turn around and make working hubs, and then the working hubs create working dies, and those working dies are what are hung on the press to make coins.
If you guys are interested in learning more about this, tomorrow's stream can totally be about this process. If you guys want to know, because there's comments in here saying like, "Ooh, now we're in at advanced levels." If you guys,
when you get to multiple classes and multiple hubbings, yeah,
It's
that
confusing.
it can get really confusing. Even for experienced people, it can get confusing.
and Marsh says, "Master Die sounds like a kung fu movie."
Master die.
So then what we'll do tomorrow is we'll kind of talk about what happens with a master hub, what a master die is. We'll talk about, a hub looks like the coin. Okay. A die is the inverse of that. So it looks like the reverse image. And we'll talk about those things and why one leads to another and what happens at each point. So we can actually break that down. If that's something that you guys want to do, we'll do that tomorrow.
It is something that you need to learn.
That,
If you are
100%.
If you are at all interested in varieties, you need to learn that.
These are all the photos that I took of this one particular coin. There was a die crack that wasn't mentioned in the hair in other listings. So I'm catching markers that weren't caught before.
Good. You need to get them all.
Yep. Well, I've taken photos of 12 coins now, with an average number of 20 photographs per coin.
Well, you got to too, because you need the whole coin, because it's going to take months to scour all those coins.
Yeah. And see, this is a different coin. This is the next coin in the stack, which also happens to be a class 2. Right up here, you can see it on the bottom of the E right there, and a little bit on the dot, but you can see it here on the other.
Oh.
You can see it right up here in the top of the weak lines. And you can see it here on the top of the end, but not quite to the degree as the last one. So it's it's very likely a different die because the spread is different. And then this one has the markers that are shared by probably half of these coins. There's die scratches between the IB right here and coming out of the B. There's this die scratch under the U going through the S. And these are on half of these coins. And then there's a die scratch, which you can't really see well, but there's one that goes from here up this way over the E of 1 from the M of United, or Unum, I'm sorry. United doesn't have an M. And you can
the mouth of the C.
Yeah, you can see this doubling. I mean, there's a little tiny notch right there. So you can see this doubling throughout the design. And that part I do not believe is class 3 doubling. That part is class 6, class 2 and class 6.
Oh.
See the doubling down here, a little bit of extra thickness there, doubling out here on the outside edge of the right wheat. And then the clash is gone. So this probably isn't that die unless the clash marks wore away. But then you can see the doubling on the TED. I zoom way in on the TED to get really good photos of them, just in case we decide to actually start comparing how the doubling manifests itself.
That's typically the strongest area on these, isn't it?
Yeah, and the N of United and then the TED.
The N of United, yeah, because it's got the...
And then generally the M
RDB0.
of America down below shows it pretty well too.
Yeah.
See if I can get it. But you can see, I mean, this is obvious hub doubling right here. I mean, there's no doubt that separation line is of doubling, and you can see it on the U as well, just not very clearly. And there's the M of America that shows it right there.
So there's a comment in chat that says, what are you talking about when you mention notching?
Notching. Okay, notching. See how one T overlapping another T right here creates what's known as a notch. It's a
Can you
cut.
zoom in a little bit?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you. Perfect.
Right there. You have one T here over another T right here. So these are two different T's. And here's an E also. Two different E's right here. And you can see how in the corner on the same side, the same corner of each of these letters, there is a cut in the corner. And that is actually where, like if you take two pieces of paper and overlap them with one another, and then you move the top piece of paper slightly upward and slightly to the left, you don't have the overall picture doesn't show you a corner anymore. It shows you a notch. And that's what this is, a notch in the corner. There's your notch there, and here's your notch here. And most forms of hub doubling, most forms of real die doubling will show you a notch like that. Now, that's important because with machine doubling and eject doubling, strike doubling, whatever you want to call it,
Comes back on itself.
they rarely, if ever, have any sort of a notch.
Mhm.
And for the most part, what it is the design being here. I've got a picture that'll.
Yeah, they consume dimensions.
Squished and flattened.
I can really show you this. I think it's this picture. No, it's not that one.
Are you talking about the ejection doubling?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I appreciate you showing that because we had some people asking questions.
Yeah.
That's the nut, she says.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's squishy.
This is ejection doubling right here. You can actually see how when the design was lifted off the coin, it actually scooped up the side of the letters and kind of laid it over like you're shoveling out of a hole. You got to put the dirt somewhere.
And that's true ejection doubling.
Yes, this is ejection doubling.
Mhm.
Not very many cases of machine doubling are actually ejection doubling, but this is ejection doubling. And also, as you might happen to notice, there's a little tiny notch up here in the top of the T. And there's also a little notch up here on the top of the E that are completely unrelated to the ejection doubling. That was actually in the design, those notches were. But this is what I'm talking about, where it looks like they've basically taken a bucket loader and driven it up to the side of the T and scooped up the dirt and laid it up on top.
But you will hear strike doubling, ejection doubling, mechanical doubling, and machine doubling used synonymously. You will hear those used across the board. And it depends on who you talk to.
But they're not. You can see right here, obviously, this is ejection doubling. This is doubling that happened after the strike, not as a part of the strike.
Right.
After the strike, when the
Right.
die was lifting from the coin, it caused this.
And
That
strike doubling should have never been used.
Strike doubling is not part of this.
It should have never been used.
Strike doubling is not even related to this. Strike doubling happens when the die bounces and actually strikes the die strikes the coin twice. I don't have an example of strike doubling here right now.
And see,
But-
Chuck and I don't agree on that.
Eject doubling and strike doubling are both machine doubling,
Yes.
and there is no such thing as mechanical doubling.
They are just, it is post-strike damage,
Well, this isn't post-strike. This happened while it was in the press.
but it still didn't happen. It happened after the final downstruck.
But one thing I want to show you guys in this is, remember when we were talking about true doubling, a doubled die, right? And make sure when you say doubled, it's the D, doubled die. They are additive. When you look at this one, you can see how this ejection doubling takes away from the actual design element. It makes it look more like it takes it in on itself. So it
That's the most
actually
important part.
it actually takes away from that image. So when you're looking at this, you ask yourself the one question: does it increase the letter? Does it build on itself? Is it extra thick? Is it puffy? Is it whatever? Or is it skinnier than it should be? Now, the only time that is reversed is when you're talking about the incuse strike. Now, an incuse strike gets skinnier in a double die than
Well, incuse is not the strike.
well, the incuse. Well, but what I'm you know what I'm saying. Here we go. Paula's gonna.
Sorry, I know.
No, but it's okay. This is where it's important to speak the language. But when it's incuse, when it's doubled, it actually is skinnier, because it brings in that, right. It reduces because it takes more metal and brings it in. So you will see a little bit different. So it's important when you're looking. That's one thing that makes it really tough about photos, is you have to know whether it's incuse or whether it's a relief.
If you start at the beginning and learned how dies are made,
Yep.
and all of that, you will benefit yourself greatly.
And maybe we'll get into that a little bit tomorrow.
We'll talk about that. We'll talk about all of that kind of stuff. Now, it's going to be very general, and you could do number of sessions on dies, die creation and the strike, planchet errors, all sorts of stuff like that.
Well, those are different.
But yeah, we definitely can go over that and talk about that. And those are really good images because you're really, really zoomed in and it's pretty clear.
He's a pro.
You got less than a millimeter on each of these letters. And yeah, they still have pretty good. I could see dust mites on this thing. The one thing I wanted to bring up is that this particular, for the intermediate people here and the pros here, this is something you don't very commonly see. So I do want to bring it up. Notice how sharp all of the design is. Notice how absolutely crisp the outer edges of everything is here. This is not very common. Very, very few of the coins ever minted come out this crisp. And that's because this is an early die state. Early die state means within the first couple of % of coins minted, you will have extremely sharp design elements because the die is very fresh, hasn't had a chance to start breaking apart yet. And you can tell that when you look at the design elements and how sharp they are. Now, the reason I call this early die state, not very early die states, because very early die state would not have any of these flow lines. These flow lines are all caused by die use. So that's for the people who understand die state. This is a very scarce photo to be able to show you a very early die state 1909 or an early die state 1909 Lincoln cent.
So Paula, when we talk about this tomorrow, do you want to grab your Play-Doh?
No. I will though. I'll have to clear an area.
Well, but you understand why I'm saying that.
We can always
Yeah.
draw pictures and stuff too if we have.
Okay. And I'll do some research today and I'll pull up some
I have 3D printed dies and hubs and
oh, beauty.
stuff
Okay,
that,
yeah, beauty.
I can show. So
Yeah. I'm actually, believe it or not, Bifrost is working on an animation for a couple different items. This is one of them, actually showing what happens like when the metal gets pushed away or pushed, you know what I mean? So she's actually trying to do something for kids, very basic, not too complex, but she's actually trying to work on an animation for this.
But this is what the photos in the study look like so far.
nice.
When I'm finished with this, there will be 4 times this number. I'm less than 25% through right now, which is why people want to know, what do you think? What do you think? What do you think? Well, I can't tell you yet because I don't know anything. I'm only taking pictures right now. It's
Well,
going to
you
take
went blind
overlays.
looking at 1909. We went to the show and literally looked at every AU plus 1909 at that whole show.
Yep. And I found one double die while I was there. I found 2 or 3 other ones in.
Yeah, we found 4 in what you had at home.
Yeah.
4, I think. Yeah, and that was about 100 coins.
Yeah, I understand. I totally understand ATS. Like I'm a visual learner too. I want to touch it and feel it. A lot of things though, unfortunately, in this hobby are more theory than anything else, more educated, evidence-based theory.
And ultimately, whatever happens with this will probably, there'll be somebody who doesn't agree totally and somebody who agrees
Always.
totally, because there's going to be no way through documentation to prove any of it.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Because the problem with the studies that have been done to date is there was a lot of supposition made.
Mhm.
A lot of, well, we see this on the coins and we have this letter that says this, but it's a different thing that it says, but we can tie the two together and say that this is what happened and here's why. Well, you can't really do that scientifically. You have to have proof.
Yeah.
And in order to scientifically prove that something happened, something didn't happen, it happened this way or that way, you actually have to have in writing exactly what was done and why. And we don't have that. There is no record of it.
Yeah, I'm sure it was done too. It's just not available anymore.
And well, there could have been record of it,
Yeah.
but my history in dealing with coins and documentation from the mints and documentation by numismatists and other things, there are a lot of things totally left out. And you'll never know the truth because there is no one alive today who worked in the mint in 1909.
That's right.
And there's such a there was such a fascinating story. Sorry, I got a frog in my throat. About the relationship between Barber and Brenner. Like, I'm sure there is a lot that is not written. It's probably worse than what is written. I imagine it probably was worse than what was written.
Well, the best I can find that was written was a letter that Barber wrote that said Brenner had no experience doing coining dies. So we have to watch him closely because he's a medallic person. He doesn't understand coins.
Yeah, and I just don't think they liked each other.
Well, we can pretty much stop at the idea with Barber didn't like.
Yeah.
You don't really have to name a person because it's most of them.
Yeah.
Most of them. That's true.
It's my understanding that Barber was not an easy person to get along with.
Yeah.
Just about every coin was done by Barber at that point. The dimes, quarters, half dollars.
Right. Morgan.
He had his hands in it. Yeah.
So Morgan could do the dollar and Barber would only give him a little bit of problem. But Morgan started the dollar back when Longacre was still the chief engraver. So by the time
I imagine there was tinkering done that nobody knew about.
Oh, there's always tinkering done.
Yeah. So.
I talked to the guy who actually carved the design for the $10 bill as we have it now. And I asked him if he placed anything in or on the design for the $10 bill that were secret little things that only he and maybe his family would know about, that nobody else would know about. His response was plausible deniability.
Well, there's like the little owl in the upper left or the upper right corner of the bill.
Right, but we're talking about the modern $10 bill.
Yeah.
And the design on the modern $10 bill, there could be things on there that we don't know about. There could be a kid's initials in the bushes. Who knows?
Mm-hmm.
And I asked him if that existed, and he said plausible deniability. That was his answer. So there could be all kinds of things in the design on coins that we don't necessarily know about. There could be a sharpening here, a dulling there, that somebody just didn't like something. Somebody didn't like somebody and wanted to ruin their artwork a little bit. It could be anything. I would venture to guess that they're so busy making coins that there's not a whole lot of room for animosity. So most of the little edits done, little recarvings and things like that, were done for utilitarian purposes and not to necessarily against somebody.
Even in that letter from Brenner to Barber, he's like, "Go ahead and do it."
Yeah. Like,
he didn't want the Galvano back. He says, "Go ahead and do it. You can do it."
You do what you need to do. I'm done.
Yeah.
You don't need to send all this back to me and go through all this time and effort for me to make a small change. You go ahead and do it. And that's what was done. So yes, but the study of the 1909 Lincoln cent is very far from over. In fact, it's barely begun.
That's barely begun. That's right.
That's really cool, though. See, this is something that I'm fascinated with, looking at, how does this process work, and how do you go through and find these items, and what does it take, and what does it require? So I think the good thing about what people have seen here today is they're kind of understanding that when they look at your site, they see 20 or 30 coins. They see a little snapshot of 5 or 6 die markers, and they see 4 die placements for like the 1909 SVDB. And they're like, oh, that's simple. They don't realize that there's thousands of coins, hundreds of thousands of images, countless hours cataloging, documenting, looking at what's there, really digging into the specifics, the discussion. Like Paula said, if I was to look at this coin, I'd be like, what the hell? It doesn't make sense.
Well, in retrospect, it's all simple. I mean, you think about it. You look at the shot for polio and the cure for polio. We didn't have any clue what it was at one point in time. Then all of a sudden somebody comes up and says, well, let me try this. And they did. And it was among years of study that they were doing to find one thing. They finally found it, and we look at it from retrospect, and we say, "Oh yeah, well that is a pretty simple solution."
Yeah, and even that polio, you realize that that should have took 10 years longer than it did. The only reason it went fast was the guy that invented the vaccine gave it to himself and then exposed himself to polio.
Right.
So he bypassed the channels because he thought it was that important that he was willing to die for it. So.
Yep.
I'm trying to
It's very
remember what the guy's
fascinating.
name was. Jonas Salk, is that it?
For polio?
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
I don't remember what his name was now. Who invented the polio vaccine? Jonas Salk.
Jonas Salk.
I was correct. I don't know how I was. but-
October 28th, 1914 was when he was born.
Well,
And I don't think that I don't think that Victor David Brenner's real name is Victor David Brenner.
Oh, it's
either.
definitely not. He's
I
from
think I heard
Lithuania.
it's some weird, was it Lithuanian?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lithuania. I can tell you now, nobody from Lithuania is named David.
No, it's something weird. Frostbyte's looking it up.
Lithuanian sculptor. He was born Avigdor David Brenner, so he did have David in his name.
I think
only
they
difference-
though. I think if you look deeper into that, Chuck, I think
Uh-huh.
that's. I don't think that's accurate either, though.
No, it's
Avigdor
Avigdor Ben Gurshon,
And that's his Jewish name.
Jewish name.
I mean, it could be.
But everybody in the U.S. knew him as Victor David Brenner.
Victor David Brenner.
Vigdor.
And there's one angle at why the initials were removed that states that there was a public outcry because those initials down there, they looked too much like venereal disease,
Oh my God.
VC. And they wanted to know why the mint was suddenly,
Advocating for
Advertising.
venereal disease.
venereal disease.
It's like, well, give
And
me 2 cents and I'll tell you.
I really think that was a fabricated excuse
Yeah.
to make it happen faster because the government was definitely not into upsetting people. But
Well, he wanted his whole name. Did he want his whole
He
name?
wanted
on there?
Brenner across the bottom.
he had
Brenner.
Brenner across the bottom,
Yeah.
and then they took the Brenner off and just put his initials back on it. And then the initials came off shortly after the coins were released to the public.
Al Capone.
Well, look at Gobrecht. Gobrecht
Didn't
did the same thing with the Gobrecht dollar.
syphilis too, or something? I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Gilbrecht had his name across the bottom of the Liberty
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
on the first dollar, 1836.
Yeah, that's $1 that I want to get. That would be a cool coin to have.
But by 1839, gone, no initials, and that was the last one made, 1839.
Which is another
But-
really good tell if you're looking at wheat cents that are early and you're trying to identify whether something's authentic or not. Look for that VDB. If the VDB isn't there, you know it's pre-1918.
If the VDP isn't there, you know to continue looking because you
Yeah.
have one of the many things solved. But the VDB can be removed from other coins by
Yeah.
breeding the bottom of the bust, like 1944, when you want to carve off the 4 and turn it into a 1 and fool
Right.
people into believing you have a 14D.
Same thing happened with the 24 Merc dime.
Let's see if I have a really good picture of the VDB area. That's what the area looks like on one of the early coins. It's 1909. The height of the bust is actually shorter than the height of the bust on a later coin. And there are no designer's initials, and almost all of them have these lathe reduction marks on them. If you get them in really nice shape, you can find these lathe reduction marks, which is basically when the lathe was tracing the master the galvano to create the master hub. There was a little bit of looseness in how it was adjusted, and it didn't exactly get its lines carved in succession with one another so as to hide one with another. And you turn out with these little lines.
Well, that was
It's happened
another thing,
again and
Chuck.
again through the past, but 1909 was a pretty big year for it, just on the raised area of the bust and the forehead.
Another thing that Chuck noticed through all this was the absence of late die-state coins.
Yeah. So far, we've not really found much of anything to
There's one
indicate.
that's kind of mid-late dice or early late die-state.
There's a number of these that show some die wear, but there are.
Well, it's sounding like they made a lot of dies, so why would they need to
Well, I
use
still
one?
think they only made 500-ish dies.
Well, I don't think they made a lot of
sets of dies.
The first thing is that the indication that there's 60 or 70 some odd different double dies, I think is, well, for lack of a scientific word, hooey.
Okay.
I personally think we're going to end up with a dozen to 2 dozen different double dies and then a couple of working hub double dies. And those working hub double
that's
dies
still a lot.
dozens of dies apiece.
So
That's
when they,
still a
real
lot.
quick, when they talk about galvanos, this is what he's talking about. So this is what they used to carve. And then they had a machine that would go around this and it would actually
trace it.
carve the master die. So when they
It
talk
would
about
reduce it.
galvanos, this is what they're talking about. This is
It
the
traced
plate.
it down from a big, huge thing like that. It went around and it traced it down at the other end on a little piece of steel. do a
Yeah.
coin size.
I
Well,
don't think
and,
about
and
that.
what we're talking about here, you have to think about big, huge in coin relationship.
Yeah.
Coins are typically, like Lincoln cents, are only 19 millimeters across.
Yeah.
These designs that Frosty just showed hanging on the wall are about 8 inches across.
Like
So
a
they're not
plate.
like dinner plates. They're pretty small, but they're huge compared to coins.
Yeah.
And I took a class by a young lady by the name of Heidi Westwheat one time in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. We did our own engraving, our own carving, our own. We made our own galvanos. So we used a design of our own creation and sat and actually created a design that could have been used all the way to the coin making process. So I understand how this stuff is done, and it is not easy. Nothing easy about it, actually. Oh, I just heard a pin drop.
Crickets.
Excuse me.
Yeah, right.
I'm
Did I
trying,
lose you?
what I'm
Are you
trying
there?
to do
No,
is
no.
find,
No.
I'm trying to find the picture on
The
the U.S.
reduction
Mint
lights?
site that actually shows
think
the
there's a picture
galvano
on,
sitting in the reduction machine, the reduction lathe.
Doublebagged.com.
Yeah.
Say again?
There's a picture. There's a picture on John
Wexler's.
Wexler's site.
Mm-hmm. Go to how dies are made.
Here's an interesting fact. I was looking in what the potential is for them repairing galvanos. It actually happens. They remove the plating, fix the galvano, and they replate it. It can happen. That was one of the things that they were saying there was 2 galvanos made. I think there was 2 galvanos made, but
He has he has great pictures, but he doesn't really have a end-to-end picture that
Yeah.
I'm seeing of the reduction.
no, he just got the picture of the galvano in the machine, then a picture of
Yeah.
the needle sitting on the hub.
I have this.
You have.
That shows the galvano sitting
Yeah,
in,
he has
in the
that one.
lathe,
Yeah.
and then the
Mhm.
tracer. So you got the tracer, but you don't see the end result of the really small.
And then there's a separate picture where you see the needle sitting on the hub,
Okay.
where it's supposed to actually
Mhm.
be
And
tracing that design.
I have seen, I don't know exactly where, but I have seen a video of the process taking place.
The U.S. Mint has it.
Yeah, that's what I
okay.
was trying to look for. Here
and
it
they
is.
have 2 of
I
them,
found it.
actually. They have one from making new hubs,
The ANA has a good video on the
And then
minting
they have one
process.
from the 40s where they have like 8 or 10 videos through the 40s where they go from, extruding the metal to making the planchets all the way through
Still yet
in
my favorite.
1940s.
Here's
My
the
favorite video is the real Canadian Mint.
here's the machine. So if you look at the machine here, this is what you're seeing. So this is the Galvano plate, and then this is the die or the hub that they're making. So as this spins around, and it carves this image. Oops. Ah, no, stop it.
And now they use a little CNC mill.
Yeah, they don't even have
And a lot of the coins, from what I understand, like some of the coins that are limited to like 50,000 coins, they make all the dies with the mill. They don't even do any of the hubbing and all that anymore.
So
They're all
Chuck,
made right off the computer.
Stacking with Kraken says you need to tell ghost stories. You have the
I
great
need
voice
to.
for it.
Oh, well, thank you. I don't know my storytelling abilities are necessarily there.
And I don't know how people think that we sound alike.
Yeah, I don't either.
No, I don't either.
I don't have a Canadian accent.
I think that you guys sound alike. I don't think you sound exactly alike, but I definitely think that if you were just tuning in for like a second, clicked on, and it takes a minute to know who's talking.
So if you guys want this, I'll put this Galvano picture if you guys want to see what that looks like. That Galvano picture is now put in chat. You can go ahead and click on that. It'll take you to the Flickr site.
I don't think that's exactly the one that the U.S. Mint used, though.
No, but this gives you a good idea of what it is that you're looking at. So this is actually this is the reduction machines at the U.S. Mint. So when you click on that, it actually does pull up the various mints. It talks about the history of the various ones that they used at the mint. So this is one that was done at the Philadelphia Mint. Janvier Photography recommended the insistent of Roosevelt during the sculptor's time of Augusta St. Gaudens. This is the one that was done for the high relief $20 gold coin. So yeah, this is the one that was actually utilized at the mint. That was done in Philadelphia.
This is strange. I'm not seeing what you guys are seeing, evidently.
Let's see. Yeah, you should be. It's on the screen.
I see a Flickr image. Is that what I'm saying?
That
Yeah.
one is, that one's showing
okay.
face to face, and the reduction length that I've always seen is end to end.
Okay.
And if you see it face to face, it still could be the same. They might turn them somehow.
Turn on.
Well, you see the giant gear here. Let me do this.
Yeah. Like the one John Wexler post. I
Here.
think she's
So
right,
if
it
now
is
you
in
can
red.
see this.
End
There's
to
the
end, yeah.
giant gear in the back. And as that giant gear turns around, it turns it at a 1-to-1 ratio. So, but yeah, this is the Philadelphia Mint. This was actually the creation of,
Looks like a Kennedy.
yeah.
Actually, the picture on Wexler's site, it is the same picture, but there's 3 of them deep. So they're lined up. So they're cutting at least 3 Galvanos at one time.
Face to face.
Three hubs, not 3 Galvanos.
No, 3. Well, yeah, they're cutting 3 hubs from 3 Galvanos
Yeah.
at one time.
So, but yeah, cool stuff.
Yeah, it does not show the actual if they're face to face or side by side, but it looks like actually the one picture they're definitely side by side.
So
Because the
Kraken,
Galvanos are facing.
Ida's doing really well. She's anticipating coming back September 2nd.
That's exciting to hear.
Yeah, she's missing everybody.
So thanks for asking, though. But again, you guys can always send the letters and the cards. She's really enjoyed seeing those things. So something that you can continue to do.
And between the death of the use of the Hanver lathe to reduce designs to hub level, and the fact that they stopped doing multiple hubbing back in
Supposedly, allegedly.
well, they did quit doing what they used to do. They don't do it the same way anymore. Those together, along with their ultimate attempts to basically get rid of the design on the coin altogether and turn it into a minimalistic relief, have all killed the beauty on coins as we know them.
Yep.
There is no way with our present method to create anything like what Augustus St. Gaudens created back in 1906 and 07. Can't do it anymore. There are some pretty designs out there, but they would be much prettier if they were done in medallic relief, in nice relief, where you don't get that many strikes per die, but you get really beautiful coins out of the ones you do get.
Yeah.
The problem is that they've gone to trying to get as much as they can. Back in 1909, I believe you were lucky to get 10 to 20,000 coins out of a die.
Think that many? They would have used somewhere around 20,000 dies,
Okay.
and they made 1,600, which is 800 pairs for part of 1909 and 1910. I think they
Right.
got 150K out of them.
I don't think so.
I mean, the early ones, they claim they didn't, but who really knows, right?
The die wear on the coins prove otherwise.
Right. Well, I mean, if you go by Delma Romine's book, 100,000 would still leave it well into mid-die state.
Yes.
Oh, are you guys talking about like finished dies with the date on them, or are you
Yes.
talking about
Actual die manufacturer,
they
there
put
was 1,600 and change dies. I don't know the exact number because I'm not looking at it.
1510.
Made from June 1909 to June 1910. They don't say what's 1909, what's 1910. You can only assume. But if you assume the banter, and because it's assumption, the first 25 million coins had low die life because of some angle that was in the letters.
But my point anyway is that currently they're working on 750,000 coins per die.
Right. They actually right now in today's standards, the actual goal is to try to get 1 million coins out of a die. I mean, they're doing 4 billion coins. That's still 4,000 die pairs.
Yeah.
So.
But anyway, with the wear that you get on using dies that much, even on very flattened designs that have only, I was going to say 6 micrometers thickness in the relief,
Yeah.
something like that. Micrometers, whatever you want to call them. The coins are basically dead now. They're just
They are.
little flat discs with little flat designs.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the coins nowadays.
Yeah, this is why it's important. And again, I love the history of the coins. That's, you guys watch the channel. It's what I like. It's why I enjoy numismatics. But they just don't have the same appeal. And again, Chuck said it earlier. The gold Liberty dollar from the 2019 is a beautiful coin. It just could be so much better if they would utilize some of the old processes and really return the art of design back into the coins.
Well, they probably could use a new process. They just have to use the right process to start with.
Well, and they're using there's a lot of super talented artists that are doing our coins. It's not the art, it's the process.
Yeah, and again, it really is.
They're handed.
Yeah.
Huh?
Artists are artists, and they can do anything.
Yeah, I mean,
But
there's
when
like
you hand
if you look
when
at the
hand them
dime designs,
limitations and tie their hands behind their back and make them design coins with their nose, they don't come out
exactly.
nearly as well.
Yeah.
Hey, Chuck, don't hold back. Tell us how you feel, man.
That's true.
Oh, I'm an artist.
Yeah.
Oh, I know you are. I've got your works.
I'm 100% in favor of going with the artists and letting the artists gauge how things happen. Doesn't matter how much more expensive it is. We want coins. We don't want crap.
Yep.
Yeah.
Especially when you're buying a gold coin or something nice, especially if it's like 50,000 coins, that they should be able to make a real high quality coin.
But that's another thing too, though. Let's look at the women's quarters, or let's look at the designs for the 2026. If you guys have been watching that at all, the designs that they're proposing for the 2026 coins, there are some gorgeous designs for those
And
coins.
they won't pick those.
But not only won't they pick them, Eric, but there's no way that they will look anything like when the coin is finally struck. It won't look anything like the design that
I can give you the overall reason for that. The overall reason for that is that the artists are creating really nice designs and they're creating very nice artwork. But once it gets to the engraver stage and the engravers are cleaning it up for use, they basically take a computer and they flatten everything down as much as they possibly can. And then that is what's sent to the CNC. And the artist sees this design that doesn't look anything like what they originally created with their initials on it.
Yep.
It's maddening.
Yeah.
That's the primary reason why I didn't put anything in for the statehood quarter or the national park design. I didn't put anything in for either one of them because the designs are too flat and too overall limiting to really be nice.
Which is a shame too, because you're taking what we have great opportunities to develop some beautiful coinage. And we have some cool designs. Again, there's some coins out there that are absolutely fabulous. But you look at some of the other mints. I mean, you look at what Nui's putting out, or you look at what the Perth Mint's putting out. Their coins are so much nicer.
But those are collectibles.
Nui and the Perth Mint. Nui is probably the Royal Australia Mint, and Perth puts out Tuvalu, Tokelau, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Those coins are short order coins.
Right.
They're private mint coins, basically, with a country's name on it, so we can call it coins.
Right.
They're not intended for use. They're not intended to be spent for anything. Most of them are made of precious metals. And these designs were actually created for short use. I know because I created them myself. I created some of them myself. You can probably get away with just about anything with regard to relief on a metallic mint coin, where you're not going to be using them for commerce. As long as the coins will stack, which is the only thing that they want to make sure of, is that they'll stack evenly. Anything else pretty much goes. And that's why these coins look generally so much nicer than the ones that we turn out to be minted in the hundreds of millions or billions to be used in commerce. That's very much a utilitarian process. The people who actually make the coins don't care whether or not they're pretty. They just put them out because they need to by law. They have to have so much money circulating at all times. But with these Tokelau and Tuvalu and Nui coins and ones like that used to have Queen Elizabeth II on them, I've designed a few of these, and I know the process. I know how they go about it, and they don't have to do much flattening of an artist's design simply because they can mint almost anything. And
they don't have to have approval, right? There's not like some government agency that like dictates what they can and cannot do. Is that correct?
Well, they do. It's the master of their mint. They have to approve the process through the mint.
Yeah, the mint.
Right. Whereas
I mean, like we have to go through
Senate and Congress.
But it's the same thing. The mint has the opportunity to do metals here that it doesn't have to go through.
Metals, correct. Yeah. Metals, yeah.
And so it's basically the same process. Like the Royal Mint, for their collectibles, they have a specific requirement. Now there's quality standards that have to be met, that have to be approved by the Royal Mint in London, and then the local houses. Correct me if I'm wrong, but Perth Mint, they're all tied to the Royal Mint. They all have to be approved under the same standard, right?
Pretty much, yes.
Yeah. So quality standards are the big thing, but the design elements for those, like the collectible 1 ounce silver rounds, they can be designed by the mint themselves. But
Yes.
I would just like to be able to see some nicer coins, because it's just, you see the stuff that comes out, like the World War II,
Follow the money.
they could have been
Right.
so nice, and they're just not. You see the designs. I'm like, man, I'm so looking forward to seeing these. And then I actually saw the coins and going, oh, they're cool, but they just aren't what they could have been. They could have been so much better. And it's kind of disheartening. Because who really wants to collect just crap?
They are not talking to the collectors.
No.
Well, they're not in the business for collectors,
No.
even though they say they are. That's why they make all these special release,
Like this DC thing that they're doing. I just think that's a huge
10 years too late.
They said, oh, we want to bring the young people in. But so
No.
why do you have to when did this hobby become like a big Fortnite game or something? Like,
Well, even, you know what? They should have made
Well,
Fortnite
can't we
coins.
just
Yeah.
teach them about our classic coins and like teach them history and stuff like that? Do we have to do that? Like bring in
my point,
superheroes and
is somebody's already made DC coins. Like the
yeah,
Fortnite
lots
coins.
of people have.
Yeah, the Fortnite coins would be a great idea. Nobody's made them. Do something that nobody's done yet.
I just don't.
There's so many things that you could do to attract a young person to want to buy that coin.
But the thing is, Eric, though,
Make a hot to $1.
a thing I'm pointing out is, yeah, you're going to get some people who are going to buy them for their grandkids or buy them for their kids, but that's not the kids are not their bread and butter. We are.
That's right. But I get it that they want to attract a young collector.
Then do a circulated coin with a privy mark
That's
on it or
right.
something like that. Do a W quarter out there every once, something different that people can
Every year, do a
search for.
$50, do a
Every
penny, do
year,
a dime,
something.
do whatever.
That
Yeah.
W quarter program, I think, brought in more kids and got people together, mothers, fathers, grandparents, searching coins with their kids and grandkids, and I think it did more to bring the youth into the hobby than anything that they have done in decades.
Yeah, you got to take the privy mark off there. That's what the coin's going to look like.
That's what
Yeah,
the new
that's
penny's going to look like for the semi-quincentennial.
The penny and the nickel are going to be just a dual dated.
Yeah, which is sad. Because
But
they
they
had the
have
opportunity to do something freaking amazing by doing
had
something like
designs.
this.
Why
That's
did
design.
they could have taken Lincoln completely off? That's the original idea, was to do a complete obverse and reverse redesign of all our circulating coinage
Yeah, for 1 year and then go back to
for
like,
1 year and then go
Yeah.
back. They chose not to do a complete overhaul on the Lincoln cent and the nickel, probably because those are the two most expensive for the U.S. Mint to produce. But they could put that little Liberty Bell privy on there for $1 million of the nickel and $1 million of the cent, release them out there in circulation, get people looking for them.
Yep, because $20 is $20,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. And then do the rest of them just the dual date or something. Something. They could do something special each year.
Yeah.
And they should. They should.
Yeah.
Because
If
we know
that's-
that they
They're
still,
really interested in bringing kids into the hobby.
if needed,
them
they still
searching.
do make coins at West Point and San Francisco if they have to.
Yep. Get them searching coins. Don't just produce something that they can buy or that their parents can buy for them or their grandparents that in 5 years they're not going to give a crap about.
And ultimately, most of the coins they sell at a premium end up being worth silver spot
Yep.
because people
Get
don't
them
collect
actually searching for coins. Teach them the joy of coin roll hunting and,
them. Hey, I would love that, Dan, for them to do Mercury Dime 1 year.
Those are really cool. Are those your designs, Chuck?
Yes, I just wanted to give the people who haven't seen them a chance to see.
ain't they pretty?
Can you zoom
What
them
I've
in a little
done,
bit,
so-
please?
Yeah, more so that people can actually see somebody's work that they were listening to and they're watching rather than just kind of seeing it out there.
Do you have any
This
of
will-
these signed?
Made for 2026.
No, not anymore. Used to. I did this-
Exactly,
I did
Jackalope.
this design as well.
You did that?
Yes.
There's a couple. Where did we see a couple people used his design without giving him credit?
Yeah, that was on the Freedom Bars. It's not uncommon to see these 1 ounce rectangle bars
Was that
out on the market that were not mine, but they were my design being reused.
but that pan pack
hmm That pan pack
that's a
was
redesign.
a private mint
Redesign.
a private mint redesign of the
Okay.
pan pack exposition.
I'm like,
No,
I know when you were born.
No, but on the other side,
got,
these were done in 2015.
I got confused.
I was born a couple of days before that.
A few days before.
And these, the obverse side of this explains all of it in detail, but I don't have a photograph of that at present. But it's Nui, and it's a 2 ounce silver coin, gilt in gold, and it's octagonal in shape, and it's made to more or less match the 1915 pan pack $50 gold coin.
Yeah, we looked at those while I was there.
There is a great story about those.
In fact, if I can go to eBay here and search 2015 Nui pan pack, I might actually find some of them for sale. Actually not, because, okay, 2 ounce silver coin. Okay, looks like they've pretty much left the market by now.
I just know we were at the fun show and you were like, hey, that's my design on those like 500 ounces of silver.
There's one of them. That's the design of the other side.
We're not seeing it because you're sharing the.
Oh, I'm sharing the image and not the screen. Hang
Yep.
on a second.
Yeah.
Let me do this. Share screen.
Do it this way.
Yeah, let's do it this way. How about that? Can we see that better?
That's beautiful.
Now that's all my artwork because I had to completely redesign from scratch the overall design using the elements that I have seen or that I have gleaned from other work, like the 1915 pan pack $50 gold coin. But if you look at the $50 and you look at mine, there are significant differences between the two. Not only to include the fact that the Queen's head is on there by law, but the denomination is different. The way that it was gilt is completely different because those coins were made of gold and this one's just gilt in gold. But the date is put in there differently. The date on the other one was a Roman numeral date. I had to change the shape of the crest on the top of the comb on the top of the hat, the helmet, and I didn't like how it came out, but there really wasn't any way to change it to make it any better.
All the stackers split when we were talking about the Lincoln cents and now they're missing out.
Yeah, right. But I also designed the label for this, the NGC label. This was my design.
That's really cool.
That is really pretty.
I did a few other coins. Some people might know of the African Lion series. I designed the first few of those.
Yeah, we looked at those while I was there too. You had them right on your shelf up there.
Yeah. I designed the Florida Wildlife series for the fun show. And, well, series it necessarily wasn't. It was a pair of designs that came out, one in 2014 and one in 2015. Had the Florida alligator and then the Florida panther. And the next one to come out was going to be the manatee, but they squashed the program before it got to that. But I have the original designs for the manatee coin that was never issued. And of this particular design, I have 3 pieces. I have one that was left as all silver. I have one that was partially plated in an enamel that was gold colored, and then I have one that's just like this that was actually gilt in gold. And the reason they made the 3 was so that we could see samples of all 3 different ones, so we could pick the one that we wanted to go into production. And when we received that 6 ounces of silver, they looked at them, chose one, and they just had to pay the mint for the silver. So when they paid the mint for the silver, I paid them for the silver and got the 3 coins. So I have one-off unique mintage of 3 different ones that are proof designs, artist proof designs, or something like that, whatever you want to call them. Samples? I don't know. So many words used in numismatics that I don't understand. I just sit here and take pictures.
I just had a Rain Man thought. You remember that? I don't know, it was Being There with Peter Sellers. I like to watch TV.
I like to watch TV, yeah. Yeah, thing is, though, Eric, you totally date yourself.
Right?
When you get into that, that's 38 years old, buddy. You know, most of your young adults these days weren't born when that movie was shot.
Yeah, well, Peter Sellers has been dead 38 years, hasn't he?
I don't even know. I didn't remember Peter Sellers being in that movie.
Oh, yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
I just remember Ted Klazuski Ted, Lifetime Batting.
Oh, no, you're talking about Rain Man there. I misquoted it. That's Rain Man.
What did you say?
I said the guy in Being There was Peter Sellers, and he was a butler, and his owner died, and we'll just say his owner, but his employer died.
Okay.
And they kicked him out of the house, and he didn't know how to do anything but be a butler and watch TV. That's all he ever did his whole life.
We changed from Rain Man to Being There in one sentence.
Yeah, I misquoted. That's old age too.
Squirrel.
Yeah. Well, no, that's a matter of I'm supposed to be able to read his mind and figure out exactly what he's talking about.
I did actually say, no, I meant Being There.
Yeah. Well, Being There, unless you saw that movie, you wouldn't know that Being There was a quote from a title of a movie.
So that's the original Pan Pac coin. That's the one you're referring to?
No, this is the 50-cent piece. I'm talking about the $50 piece.
Oh, got you.
The $50 gold, which let me see if I can get back to this. Likely not one for sale right now. Okay, this is a 2-ounce silver remake of the original design. Let's see. There's one of the $1 gold coins, but the $50 gold coin is rare. They very seldom come up for sale.
Yeah, I'm only seeing the $1 coin.
But I can do the
It's pretty
$50
cool.
gold and bring it up there. That's what the original $50 coin looks like.
Holy price tag.
Yeah, they're not cheap. But that's why I gave us all a chance to own one that was larger. Where did that go? Here it is. So that's the original coin. You can see I changed it significantly.
Yeah, but it's still pretty freaking amazing. I have a lot of your artwork, but this is cool.
This is my retarded little brain working on us here. There's a machine doubling on this one. How interesting. You would think with a $50 coin in 1915, $50 was like almost enough to buy a car. And so you would think in 1915, they would have paid a little more attention to how they were striking the coins, but.
Well, I looked at a bunch of gold coins at Dalton.
Yeah.
And one thing I noticed is gold coins, silver coins, as far as quality, look far better. Gold just doesn't strike real well.
Well, it's soft.
Yeah.
So you can put a lot more detail in it.
It
And
just seemed like the fields were a little bit grainy and stuff like that. And the coin
that was an artist license type thing from back then. All medallic art generally, you've got very soft clouds in the background. You've got very soft features. You got every brick of every building shows, but only in a subtle way. And that sort of thing is what the artists did back then to keep it from looking sterile, to keep it from looking mechanical. They wanted it to look artistic. And that's part of the renaissance of coinage that a lot of people don't understand, see, realize, or care about at this point. It is just how specific we were to having an artsy look to everything back then. And the critical art of coinage is gone. We do not have that anymore. It doesn't exist. I can take you to a specific design. You can think about one specific design. If anybody wants to bring one up, they're welcome to. A 1913 Buffalo nickel. The Type 1 Buffalo nickels you can see on the obverse and the reverse in the design, in the field, in the more blankish areas. There's always something going on everywhere in the design.
Even in the 30s, it's there.
It is, but not to the degree that it was on the Type 1 design, especially on the reverse.
You want to see the reverse or the obverse?
What?
Do you want to see the reverse or the obverse?
Let's look at the reverse of a 1913 Type 1 mound reverse.
Boy, Paul is awful quiet.
Maybe.
Okay.
Sorry, I was just listening.
Yeah. Look at that. See how every single part of that design has something.
Has some sort of texture in it.
You don't see that in coins anymore. They want to be as smooth as they can make them.
Yeah, mirrored.
What's the relatively new golden dollar that just has the Statue of Liberty on the back of it?
The innovation dollar.
Innovation.
Yeah. That's one of the ugliest coins I've ever seen because it doesn't have a design.
Completely agree.
Indeed.
Yeah, completely agree.
And so here we have, I guess what that must have been designed by a grader or something, because you get one little mark in that coin, you can't get a 70 grade. But with this old Buffalo nickel right here, I mean, man, that's a nice looking design. And it doesn't matter that it's got that little stippled stuff between the rear legs. It doesn't matter that it's got the little bit of oddity to the E pluribus unum because of the way it was engraved into the.
Now, would that be like the actual hand carving marks in the Galvano that are picked up?
Well, the Galvano wasn't hand. Well, it was, but it wasn't. The Galvano is actually something that was a copy of the original design, the original plasters, and then it was plated in metal.
Right, either copper or nickel. So
there's a lot of loss of original detail in a Galvano, but when James Earl Fraser designed this, and when he designed it to give it the rugged Western look. And that was what he was after, that deep dish design with all of that extra texture everywhere. I mean, you've got basically all the hair of the buffalo is visible in some form or fashion. And that's just not something you're going to see anymore in coin design. Everything now, I liken it to the, back when the Washington quarter was first changed in 1996, the head had lost almost all of its detail. And so they changed to a obverse design. There you go. There it is. It's
the spaghetti hair.
yeah, that's what I was getting at. Is the 1996 design of the Washington quarter was changed, and all of the individual hairs they tried to carve into that 1996 quarter design. It looks like Washington has a head full of spaghetti instead of hair, and that is today's best attempt at putting detail on coins. And we wonder why coins are ugly. Well, they are because the microns thick that they can make the design, and the amount of there's actually a size restriction to the amount of detail you can place on a coin, because they don't want to mint coins where the design will wear off after the first 10,000 strikes. So they make sure all of the detail is large enough so that it shows up even after the first, numbers of thousands of strikes. And that in itself puts limitations on the artist. And there's so many limitations on the artist. I don't even know how Heidi Westweek does it, because she can make really nice designs and stay within today's boundaries. And I commend her for that, because I look at the design restrictions on coins these days. I couldn't even imagine trying to design a coin that agrees with the mint, because it certainly wouldn't agree with my art skills. So I feel
Well,
like
you're
I've
very
been
talented, bud.
elevated on a soapbox or something here.
Well, no, I mean, just looking at what you've done, some of your designs, I have a number of your art pieces that I purchased from you. And again, I share those with Bifrost, and she's just like, wow. So the fact that you have coin designs and stuff like that, I think that's really cool.
Yeah, I am a much better drawing artist, pencil drawings and things of that nature, than I am a coin designer. But I've thrown my hand at it a few times. Here's one of my drawings that most people don't generally ever see.
You unshared, so you're gonna have to share again.
Yeah, I'm doing it. I'm working on it now.
Chuck also has an advantage because many of the artists that they employ to do designs of coins have no idea of how their design needs to be so that it can strike a coin. If that makes sense. I know Chuck probably knows exactly what I'm saying, but
Right.
not every design will be able to strike a coin.
Well, there's so
because-
many things that coin collectors don't necessarily think about when it comes to
Right.
actually creating coins. One of those things being that the relief on one side
Right.
must be codependent on the relief on the other side of the same
Thank
coin.
you. That's
Because when you're striking coins, the planchets start out more or less flat, and you're impressing a design.
and you
on
only have so much
planchets.
metal.
The metal has to go somewhere,
Yeah.
and there's only so far the metal can go, and then you end up having flat areas. And that was the problem, like with this design right here.
Mhm.
The area. Can you see my cursor? Can everybody see my cursor?
Mhm.
Yes.
Okay. This area right in here, where the hand meets the stem of the oak. What do you call that? A bough. But anyhow, this area right here is often very flat on Walking Liberty $50. And the reason for that is because it's in the very center of the design. Well, what's in the center of the design on the other side? The highest point of relief of the eagle.
Mhm.
And so you have high point and high point trying to work together, and it often didn't work out very well, especially when you got into the later dates in the 40s.
And there's things like rub, like circulation rub and stuff too, that Chuck understands that many artists wouldn't understand. They had that problem with the Type 1 and Type 2 Buffalo nickel. And I think on the
SLQ.
standing liberty
Yep.
quarters.
Yep,
with the
SLQ.
dates. Mhm.
And that was up to what, 24 or something like that? That they decided to change that?
Yes, I think it was 1925 when they changed it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So
we're talking about the placement of the step that Liberty's standing on,
Yeah.
and the date on top of that. The date was risen up above a lot of the relief around it, and when the coin started wearing, the date was one of the first things to go. And that happened with Buffalo nickels. It happened with Standing
Nickels.
Liberty quarters. And we ended up with a lot of coins out there that don't have dates.
Yep.
And that was a problem. So they did something to change it, at least on the Standing Liberty quarter. I don't think they really changed
On
it.
the Buffalo nickel, they did on the reverse.
Yeah, they
Just on
changed
the
it.
one date on the 1913. Yeah.
Right. They changed it on the reverse so that
Right.
the 5 cents wouldn't go away fast.
Right.
so
But
this is
the-
what he's referencing right here.
Yeah, exactly. That you've got that step that she's on that is in higher relief than the surrounding area, and then the date is higher than that. And what they ended up doing in 1925 was they carved that step down so that you still had the step, but then it had kind of a dish underneath it that the date sat inside of, made it a lot easier for that date to remain on the coin after it was very worn.
Mhm.
and this one is a Type 1 design, so it doesn't have the detail on the shield that the Type 2 has, and it also doesn't have the chainmail over the breast. So this is an early design. Then the later design was a little more generically carved in. A lot of people wouldn't notice it. Artists definitely will, especially medallic sculptors.
Right.
That they significantly changed this design. They significantly changed the peace dollar in 1922. They significantly changed a lot of the designs to make them better for coining.
Yep.
So they're less art and more utilitarian.
Right.
Yeah, that high relief 22 at 21 are absolutely beautiful when you see them next to one of the regular reliefs.
Right.
The
And then there's
thickness, the quality,
proofs.
the strike. Yeah, they're amazing.
Zerbies.
Is that how you pronounce that? Because I've always pronounced it Zerbe.
Zerby, I think.
Yeah, Zerbe.
Yeah. Yeah, Russ Vega did a presentation. I think it was one of the Money Talks or one of those Numismatics on that. And the other guy, what was the other guy's name that he was kind of in cahoots with? When you were they bought up all those Pan Pac octagonal dollar.
I don't know.
$20. The $20? Is it $20?
Yeah, they're 50.
Commems, 50 commems, yeah. Yeah, what was the other guy's name though? I can't remember. Huge advertising guy. But
I don't know.
Zerby was like the Ringling brother and Barnum and Bailey of coins.
Well, wasn't that the guy that lived down here, Chuck? Ended up losing his shop and everything because he was trying to get all the coins at some coin show.
I don't know. I have no idea.
Well, there was
Big
some
in
fellow that had a
advertising.
coin shop local here.
Yeah, he had a huge coin shop, big in advertising, like.
Yeah, and he was trying to buy all these coins at some, I want to say it was a fun show. And he got them, and then they all tanked, and he lost his shirt.
I wish I could remember the other guy's name though. The presentation was great. My memory is not as good as the presentation. But Zerby, like, yeah, he was one of those people that he literally could walk into the mint and tell them, I want you to make these coins. And they would do it. And they did.
Is that Farhan Zerby?
Yeah, Ferran Zerbe.
Farhan?
Yes.
Are you talking about Max Mill?
Yes.
Oh, B. Max Mel. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Big coin dealer.
Yeah.
He was the first one to
MEHL, is that
actually do
right?
catalogs that were mailed.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna put a.
But if you can find that presentation that Russ did for the ANA, it was only a few months ago. It was really, really informative. And it's short. It's only like 30, 40 minutes long. But it's a great presentation.
Here is. I'm gonna put this in. I just tweaked
That
my
was what I was
shoulder.
trying to think of. That's why I was so quiet when you were doing that about the redesigns that you did, Chuck. It dawned on me, and I'm like, oh God, what was that guy's name?
This
So I
is a
was
link
looking-
about BML on PCGS. Cool little article about that.
Yeah.
So if you're interested in that, go check that out.
So
Well, hey, folks, I just realized that it's like we've got like an hour and 15 minutes over my normal time.
yeah, I gotta get going too. Have a blessed day, you guys. Everybody,
You guys have a great day.
great weekend. See
Thank you all for
tomorrow.
coming up. Chuck,
Bye.
thanks for coming up. Paula, again, hope you had a wonderful birthday. She's already gone. Eric, as always, I appreciate you.
All right, I'll see you tomorrow.
All right,
Hey.
folks.
Chuck, before you leave,
Yep.
I just picked me up an 1877 FS 801 trade dollar.
Okay. I
So-
don't know much about those. I mean, I know what they are. I've held them.
I want to chat with you about it sometime.
That would be fine.
Okay, well, let me wrap up stuff and I'll pull it up on my scope. We'll talk about it.
Okay,
All right,
sure.
folks. Well, thank you for being here. Y'all have a wonderful day. And you know what? I will see you guys